J Squad.
We gotta find. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find.
Yo, what is going on? We got Simon already in chat. I think I found an interesting thing that I want to look into today. So it's going to be we've got all the collective shout stuff going on. Games getting banned for being degenerate. We got the rape game. No Mercy, and we got them taking down the porn games. So I figured we would start going through some of the most degenerate games that have ever come out. And man, there is quite a few of them. So many just absolutely degenerate games. Some of them I hadn't even thought about for a long time until this subject popped up. You know, a lot of people complain about the modern video games, how they're more degenerate. Not, you know, not like back in the good old days where games were nicer, games were wholesome. Back in the 80s when the world was just a better place, everything was wonderful and carefree, and you were just a kid playing Mario. So the first game that we're going to bring up is 177, made in 1986. I had completely GTA coffee shop. Yeah. I had completely forgot about this game. This game is this is top list for one of the most degenerate games that I think I've ever seen. And we're talking about on tier with stuff like ethnic cleansing and even No Mercy. This is probably the predecessor to No Mercy. So we're going to watch this one. It's kind of short because this is a longer video, the 100 most depraved, disturbing videos. I was just going to watch this, but I want to get some more long formed content going over some of these games. But there's not a lot on 177. In fact, for whatever reason, the only videos that I can find about this game are playthroughs, and I don't know how playthroughs of this game are up on YouTube. So let's listen to Piney as he goes over a classic game, 177.
177 was a side-scrolling arcade game developed and published by Macadamia Soft and released in 1986 for the NEC PC 8801 system. The game's title references the paragraph in the Japanese criminal code that prohibits sexual assault, ironically naming a game centrally focused on this violence. In 177, the player controls a male protagonist who chases a female character around a circuit, attempting to catch and...
So you already hear it. I believe it's a Japanese company quoting assault laws. It only gets worse from here.
Sexually assault her. Hedges and dogs function as obstacles for the player, who can throw rocks at the fleeing woman to slow her down. The player loses if the woman reaches her home. If she is caught by the protagonist, the side-scrolling arcade mode shifts to a stationary overview of the sexual assault, during which the player must press various buttons in order to sexually satisfy the woman. If he is successful, they are married. If he fails, he is arrested by the police.
I think that's a good start to this segment, right? Probably one of the craziest games, and it was 1986. Now, I know there was Atari sex games and things like that were just pixels, but I wonder if this was one of the first rape games, if not the first rape game. That's right. Oh God. And now we're going to go into another one that came out that's called Brown Mouth. After this, we're going to go into some more long form content. So we can hear about some crazy games. Let's learn about Brown Mouth.
Brown Mouth. Brown Mouth is a game very few people have played, since it was a game made for people that like to eat poop.
I didn't mean to pause Andy there, but this is I didn't know about this game, and I've looked up I like looking into controversial games, or I used to a while back. I knew about 177, but this one completely is off the radar for me, and I've listened to a little bit of it. It's pretty bad.
Apparently, the website that had it is lost. In Brown Mouth, you play as a deranged man who is disfigured named Mike Nasty. In the game, you must steal and drink tons
Mike Nasty is a hell of a name.
of milk, which will fill the brown bar on the screen. When filled, he will have severe diarrhea. You can also kill anyone you come into contact with and eat them. His main goal
Severe diarrhea.
seems to be to abduct little girls and tie them up in his home. where you must complete an action-timed game where he force feeds them his own feces, after which he will
Oh no, he doesn't just eat the poop. He force feeds underage girls the poop.
then cut them open and eat their insides, and finally snuggle with their empty bodies. Failing the event will cause a tumor in Mike's brain to grow and make the game harder to control. It is also possible to sell the girls and their body parts for money, which you can spend on explosives that Mike can use.
Sell the women and their body parts. That is a crazy idea for a video game.
To cause mass killings. Mike also has a pet goat, which you can command to eat people. Outfits can be purchased for
Eating people with a goat is not that out of line.
the goat, including a maid outfit, gimp suit, goth outfit, and others. Mike Nasty appears to have two friends in the game, Lucy Fillin and Richard Rectus. Both of them are
Richard Rectus, really?
hallucinations of Mike's mind. Lucy acts as a guide to instruct you on playing the game. It is also possible to have sex with her, which is an animated QuickTime event. Due to her being a hallucination, Mike uses a human flesh doll made up of small animals sewn together for the physical part of the encounter.
Jesus fucking Christ, can this game get any worse?
Once complete, Mike will become faster, stronger, and earn more money for a limited time. Richard Rectus can also be interacted with to play a game of his. In the game, you must first inject chemicals into either Mike's eyes, neck, gums, or under his fingernails. Once done, you can go on a rampage. The goal is to skin as many people as possible in a certain amount of time, after which he will fashion the flesh into either a trophy or some BDSM gear, such as restraints, whips, belts, and so on, which can be used on young girls to cause them to urinate, which must
Why? Why would you play a game where you do that?
be collected in jars. Once around 50 jars are filled, Mike can fulfill his final mission, invading the police station, after fighting off all officers using the jars of urine, which is thrown. You can take down the police chief, where you must complete a 5-minute long animated QuickTime event where you must pin down the chief and defecate inside his mouth. In the
I don't even know what to say to that.
final scene, you are caught by one lone police officer, where you can choose to surrender or attack. Choosing to attack, Mike will detonate an explosive, destroying the entire station. Choosing to surrender makes the officer shoot you to death before shooting themselves. The final scene shows a statue built of Mike Nasty, which ranges from him being crucified to an entire museum dedicated to him.
Jesus Christ. Oh, what's going on, Kamoji? So far, we've looked at the Pixel game 177 made in what is it, 1986 is what they said. You ever heard about that one? It's pretty infamous for being it's probably one of the first rape simulators. So those are the first two. That's just a little bit of the treat that we're in store for. Some of these other games I'm looking for stuff of, but I went through and I found some classics that I wanted to go over. And then there was this one, which seemed kind of new. Small creator, Digital Hauntology made it. It's called The Most Despicable Game Ever, Rachel Foster versus Gone Home Review. It's an hour, so I don't know that we'll watch the whole thing, because I've got some others that I want to cover here, too. But we're going to start here. Before we get into that, though, before we start watching this game, which I've heard is about a pretty touchy subject on YouTube, I'm going to pull up Rimworld. So if you don't know, Krax and his crew died. So we restarted kind of the same playthrough with a new Krax. The new Krax is apparently a wife beater. He has beat up 2 women now because both of the other crew are women, and they keep getting in social fights. And then this woman who attacked the colony got beat up by him too. So this is going to be an interesting playthrough. Uh, we'll see if Krax can survive this time. I have some ideas for another one if I don't survive though, so we'll deal with that when it comes along. Anyways, let's go ahead. Actually, I was thinking about, no, we'll keep it as is. We'll keep it as is for this one. All right, we're going to go ahead and watch the game about the most despicable game ever made. I mean, there are so many that could fall into this category. You better have a high note.
Despite being a simple-looking game, it boasts a violent and sexual direction beyond imagination and a gloomy background setting that makes one question the creator's mental state.
Okay, good start. This is what we're looking for.
The main character, Kunakai Sakuri, awoke one day to find herself in a dim, unfamiliar room. Stepping outside, she encountered menacing monsters prowling about. Caught in a trap, she met a swift demise, only to inexplicably return to life, compelled to press forward. The game producer's affection for dot and Rayona elements shines through, with a focus on sadistic challenges and meticulous design. Each trap and encounter, including boss battles, offers unique and elaborate death sequences.
Those are going to be bangers for sure. Yeah.
A testament to the game's attention to detail. With no background music or sound effects, the player...
Hold on, what do you got here? One of the visitors, Steroid, is a leader of the faction. There are people who have a relationship with him, ex-lover of crew member Wolf. Oh, how about that? You want to...
Player relies on text descriptions. Despite its simplistic 2D dot graphics, the game's file size is surprisingly large due to the multitude of death animations and sprites. However, this belies its low-end nature compared to modern mobile games. Gore is so extreme that it can be said to be far from gore. In particular, starting with Asmodeus, the fourth stage boss, the main character masturbates before the boss confrontation.
Oh no!
Hit and killed while sitting in a charge attack, when he is beaten by small slimes in 5th stage, or by Lucifer.
Oh, hold on. I think this is the wrong one.
When the main body is hit by a fall.
We're listening to the wrong one. I was wondering why it wasn't going any further. Here, we'll listen to this one too, since we already kind of listened to some of it. Okay.
Monophobia.
Because this was a good one too.
Simple-looking game. It boasts a violent and sexual direction beyond imagination and a gloomy background setting that makes one question the creator's mental state. The main character, Kunakai Sakuri, awoke one day to find herself in a dim, unfamiliar room. Stepping outside, she encountered menacing monsters prowling about. Caught in a trap, she met a swift demise, only to inexplicably return to life, compelled to press forward. The game producer's affection for dot and Rayona elements shines through, with a focus on sadistic challenges and meticulous design. Each trap and encounter, including boss battles, offers unique and elaborate death sequences, a testament to the game's attention to detail. With no background...
It's attention to detail. Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Music or sound effects, the player relies on text descriptions. Despite its simplistic 2D dot graphics, the game's file size is surprisingly large due to the multitude of death animations and sprites. However, this belies its low-end nature compared to modern mobile games. Gore is so extreme that it can be said to be far from gore. In particular, starting with Asmodeus, the fourth stage boss, the main character masturbates before the boss confrontation, or when he is hit and killed while sitting in a charge attack, when he is beaten by small slimes in 5th stage, or by Lucifer, the 6th stage boss. A typical example is the scene when the main body is hit by a falling ceiling attack and dies. In addition, from stage 6, Kunakai Sakuri suddenly loses her clothes and goes around naked.
Oh man, it's like you wonder. People always say the good old days where like kids were safe, but these games existed. You just had to know where to look them up.
As an ordinary schoolgirl, Kunakai lacks combat prowess, making avoidance crucial. Yet the game's challenge...
Yes, Japanese-looking games. I think it's the second one that has Japanese origins, at least.
Controls, bugs, and unforgiving save points elevate the difficulty to near...
True. Some of these were harder to find. You would have to know where to look. But I found some pretty degenerate shit when I was a teen on the internet.
Possible levels. In some instances, defeating a boss only leads to unforeseen setbacks, requiring a forced reset.
All right.
Cleansing.
Ethnic cleansing we'll get to in a minute. So for now, we're closing you off. This is borderline lost media. Oh yeah. The other game with Mike McNasty is definitely lost media. The website doesn't exist anymore. 177. I don't know if there's any copies of that available. I would hope not. All right, so this is the one that has some sensitive material in it. You know, grooming, death, other stuff. So let's listen to this one and we'll see where we go from there. Ethnic Cleansing is a certified hood classic. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
If you've been following this channel, you may have noticed that I tend to cover games that are kind of in that B game realm. Sure, I've covered things with a little bit more or higher budgets as well, but
it's games like this that make you wonder where the line for censorship is, considering reasonable and fair. Yeah, I mean it is a way to think about it. You know, people talk about you know, in the First Amendment, there's a lot of talk about, you know, we have obscenity laws. Where is the line from that? And a lot of it has to deal with what a reasonable person would find. What a reasonable person would find obscene tends to be obscene. And I don't know that a lot of the stuff that comes around on the internet would be found free speech under those obscenity laws. Ethnic Cleansing was based off of a book, so not really, to be honest. Was it based off of a book? I knew it was created by a neo-Nazi group, but I didn't know that they were. Well, maybe I think I might remember some. I don't remember. We'll have to see, though, when we watch about it. It's an interesting story. And as far as I know, it was never blocked. I think it was more of a social movement that made it disappear.
But for some
I'm going to skip this first part. So this is the name of the game.
First things first, I'm going to issue a spoiler warning here for The Suicide of Rachel Foster, but also for the Fulbright Company's 2013 classic, Gone Home. As in the writing of this video, I found it important to compare and contrast the two games. Both titles are certainly similar in terms of how they are structured, as they are both games about exploring a space and trying to figure out why it has so suddenly emptied out, and both games tell narratives that share certain themes and sensitive subject matters. And speaking of sensitive subject matter, just in case you missed the disclaimer at the beginning of this video and you couldn't tell by the title of this game, the Suicide of Rachel Foster features, well, suicide. And
Thanks for that. I didn't need to know. It's based off it is. That's right. The Turner Diaries. I completely forgot about that. It's still a crazy game. I mean, you know, the Turner Diaries, from what I remember, never read it, but from what I remember hearing about it, is a crazy book too.
Foster, oddly enough, she dealt with far worse, it turns out, but more on that later. And I chose the word features because it is not simply sprinkled into the subject matter of the plot, but it is also depicted in a fully playable sequence. But somehow, suicide, even in this poorly depicted state, and I will explain why in a little, is hardly the most controversial of topics, as this game features the grooming of a young girl as a key element of its plot. But even this is elevated.
A game with grooming and suicide. The internet made this type of thing that would be kept under wraps by underground groups so easily accessible. Yeah.
When the grooming is happening between a highly educated man and a girl trying to figure out how to overcome dyslexia and communication issues.
Hey, I can relate to this girl. I have dyslexia. Never groomed, though. Never groomed.
In a turn of events, this game also features murder in one of the most repugnant ways I've ever seen. Gone Home also covers issues such as grooming to a much more loose and interpretive state, but also features issues such as depression, coming to grips with one's identity and sexuality, and potential suicidal ideation. But it does all of these things in a completely different way and arguably a more tasteful and respectful manner than The Suicide of Rachel Foster. And then both of these games feature a potential supernatural presence in their respective environments. So, what is The Suicide of Rachel Foster? In short, it is a walking simulator. If you are unfamiliar with that term, it essentially refers to an adventure game with an emphasis on the gradual exploration of an environment, with the story being revealed to the player through discovering key items and observing small details in the game's setting.
Yep.
But one of the key differentiators between a walking simulator and a more immersive sim game like BioShock or Deus Ex is a conspicuous lack of action gameplay. Some notable examples of walking simulators are games like Giant Sparrow's What Remains of Edith Finch, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture out of the Chinese Room, Campo Santo's Firewatch, and then of course Stav Stoshak's Titan Chaser, and obviously the other topic of this video, Gone Home. Rachel Foster takes place in the Timberline Hotel, an environment which couldn't be more blatantly influenced by The Shining's Overlook Hotel, down to a not-so-subtle establishing shot showing a car's ascent to the building, liminal hallways, and even the stark red paint.
You know, a lot of these things with the, I was thinking about it, you're talking about, why do we have a medical emergency? Who's medically emergent? Okay. Who's my doctor? Oop. You'll work. Oh no, she's just probably dying of an infection. Well, let's see here. But like some of these games, heat stroke. Fair enough. I don't really have anywhere to put you, bud. All right. But, it's not a new theme to have these kind of stuff in it. I always think of like the French films that are always kind of crazy over the top and go into these really dark subjects. Or, there's a ton of movies out there, books, things like that always try and cross the line. So games is not a new thing. I think for me personally, what it comes down to is two things. Where's it sold and what story does it tell? I think that's an important point to reach for those.
Of both of the
here we go.
Even in choosing the name the Timberline Hotel, this is an obvious shout out to the Kubrick adaptation, with the real-world Timberline Lodge in Mount Hood, Oregon being used for all of the exterior shots of the Overlook in that film. But the key factor that these two fictional hotels share is their complete isolation from the outside world and snowy conditions that maroon the casts of both stories in their confines. We play as Nicole Wilson, the daughter of the previous owners of the Timberline, a man named Leonard McGrath, and a woman named Claire Wilson. And through a truly impressive opening that features of the player making their way through a crowd of funeral attendants interspersed with shots of Nicole reading the final letter from her now deceased mother, we are given the setup. Nicole's family is dead, and she has now inherited the Timberline Hotel.
Okay.
With her mother's last wishes for Nicole to sell the building and use the proceeds towards her education.
The only problem I have with these like walking simulator type games is, especially in the horror genre, like I like horror and I want to play a game like this, but after watching a lot of like lore from different walking simulators, they all really just feel the same. There doesn't seem to be much difference between them and anything else.
While paying off, quote unquote, that girl's family. With this letter, we are given the first glimpse.
I'm fine with suicide as a theme of the story, so long as it's done in good taste and it makes sense for the story. Yeah, I agree. You can do it with anything. You can do it with rape. You can do it with any number of really touchy subjects and have a good, meaningful story that says something.
Of this game's attitude towards its subject matter. First, your mother makes it clear that she was suffering through some sort of condition while writing this letter that would soon render her unable to communicate, with her death also being imminent. And even in this last correspondence, she blames your father for destroying your family. She blames an affair that Nicole's father had with that young woman, and the same young woman's suicide shortly after the affair had been made public, for destroying the family. In reality, that young woman was a young girl named Rachel, who we soon find out was 16 years old, possibly younger at the time, that Nicole's father, Leonard, a 49-year-old hotel owner and educated astrophysicist, engaged in a sexual relationship with her. Remember, this is a 16-year-old girl who a married 49-year-old man with a daughter at roughly the same age decided to start having a sexual relationship with. But still, Nicole's mother calls this an affair and places the majority of the blame on this girl and sees her suicide as sort of a good riddance. Before carrying on in her final letter about relationship advice for Nicole,
okay, that's pretty dark. It's not a new idea. I've heard that idea of someone being raped, a daughter or something like that being raped, and then the mother blaming the daughter for what happened instead of, acknowledging what's going on.
About being a good Christian and then selling her family's property. Right away, it is clear that Claire, Nicole's mother, is not concerned with the death of Rachel. She views herself as the true victim in this story and simultaneously a good Christian, one who loved her daughter more than anything else, and even celebrated Nicole when she decided to march against abortion in her first year of college. And I only bring this up because it's somewhat important later in the story. We are not supposed to like Claire from the jump. And Daniel Azara, the main writer of this story, and the rest of the team at 101 Games go out of their way to take every opportunity to villainize her while making some truly, for lack of a better word at this moment, interesting choices when it comes to Leonard.
So are they saying vilify the little girl? Not me.
Truly, for lack of a better word at this moment, interesting choices when it comes to Leonard. Upon arriving at the
Okay, let's try.
Opportunity, this story and the rest of the team at 101 Games go out of their way to take every opportunity to villainize her while making some truly, for lack of a better word at this moment, interesting choices when it comes to Leonard. Upon arriving at the Timberline Hotel, Nicole makes her way through the old building, a long since abandoned business and home, in order to prepare for its audit and sale, and also for the attorney Benjamin Jenkins to arrive to aid in the process. But before I continue, I feel that it is important to establish where the Timberline is located geographically, because 101 Games was very strategic in where they placed it. And in my opinion, it was just as calculated as establishing bias against Claire in these early stages of the story. Before the game begins proper and the player is moved into Nicole's first-person perspective, the suicide of Rachel Foster greets the player with a loading screen that shows a postcard from Montana. And this is notable because as of the time of this writing, well, the age of consent in that state is 16. And the reason that
okay, the age of consent in a couple of states is 16. I want to say in my state it's 18, but there's what is it called, Romeo and Juliet laws. So for people of a certain age, it might as well be 16. I don't know if there's anywhere younger in the United States.
Strategic will become a little bit more obvious as this video goes on, but even with this setup, things should be a little obvious. A story that features an affair between a 49-year-old man and a 16-year-old girl, this setting only serves to muddy the waters between what is legal and what is moral. 101 Games had plenty of choices where to place this game while conjuring up connections to The Shining. The Shining took place in the Rockies, with the Overlook specifically in Colorado, where the age of consent is 17. In fact, Montana is the only state that the Rockies touch where the unrestricted age is at a current low of 16. The Timberline Lodge, where 101 got this hotel's namesake, is in Oregon, where all parties need to be 18. And I'm just gonna say this, I'm from California, where the age is 18. So I have my opinions. And I fully understand that Danielle Zara is from Rome, where the age is much lower, but fuck man, looking up all these age of consent laws made me feel like Matt Gaetz before scheduling a date.
The New York Times is running a story that I traveled with a 17-year-old woman.
Allegedly speaking, of course.
Sure, we can be charitable to 101 and mention that Kubrick's adaptation was filmed in both Oregon and Montana, which could be one of the reasons they placed it here, but I don't know.
Maybe. You know, something is coming when they bring up age of consent. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's already been talk of grooming, so this is going to get interesting.
Doing some heavy lifting, considering the fact that this story, in some ways, is centered around a sexual relationship between a 49-year-old man and a 16-year-old. And this obfuscation only becomes more obvious as the story goes on. But if we aren't being charitable, this is just a shit show. Once the game becomes truly playable, and after following instructions that Jenkins left on the Timberline's answering machine, Nicole makes her way to the Master Suite, a room that once served as a home for Nicole, Claire, and Leonard. And it is both in this space and Leonard's office downstairs that we get a feel for who this man was. An academic with multiple degrees in astrophysics, someone who studies spirituality and the cosmos, solves complex math problems over coffee, and someone who is simultaneously obsessing over Rachel even after her death while leaving his own daughter's room unchanged for the decade since she's been gone.
Okay, so I could see how that it starts to paint like a good picture of him. He's an intelligent man, educated. Not looking so good for the main character.
But even though this space does try to paint Leonard in a more charitable light, and even if Nicole harbors resentment towards her father and how his actions led to the disintegration of her family, it is usually weighed against the remaining fondness of the man that she remembers, and this only grows as the rest of the game progresses. 101 Games loves Leonard. Everyone in this story has a sort of reverence towards the man outside of Claire, and it only becomes more and more pronounced until it borders on the insane, and he is simultaneously being foiled against Claire throughout the narrative in such a way to show that he was the cool and responsible one, while she was always the cold and brash counterpart in the relationship. Azara is always setting the tone that Leonard, a pedophile, is more likable, more intelligent, and in some ways a more reasonable person than the uptight and overly religious Claire. And yes, I am making a value judgment here. Leonard is a pedophile. Rachel was the same age as his daughter and they were both classmates, and he was 100% grooming her. I don't give a fuck what Montana laws are. I've read online that some people make the distinction that this game centers more around themes of ephebophilia than just straight up pedophilia, but I think comedian John Marco Soresi summed up that argument better than pretty much anyone else could.
I've heard this one before.
We don't make those distinctions is because it's very hard to explain the difference without sounding like a pedophile.
As Nicole makes her way through the master suite and into her old bedroom, we learn a little about our character's background. She was a hockey player, into punk-adjacent music, played the bass, had a feminist streak, and had adopted some of her father's interest in astronomy, even though all of that is overshadowed by the most bizarrely rendered lava lamp that I've ever seen in her old room. This little time capsule dedicated to Nicole also serves to ground us in the era.
So it makes me wonder if, he's going to talk about it more, but to be a devil's advocate, I guess, supposedly trying to defend the pedophile, not a good look. Could it be a story where if all the characters in the story are holding him up on this pedestal, could it be making a statement about how, it can be hard for her to be noticed, or hard to, when someone's liked, people don't want to believe that they're a horrible person. Could that be the story it's trying to tell? The Montana thing's a little, but there could be a respectable story
That this game takes place, with her room looking like a teenager's room from the 80s, played against the much older hotel, grounding us 10 years later firmly in 1993. But this quick exploration of her old space is cut short when a conspicuously placed telephone starts to ring.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Is this Miss McGrath?
Wilson. McGrath was my father's.
This is Helena Federal Emergency Management Agency. My name is Irving Crawford.
On the other end is the second principal character in this story, Irving Crawford, a FEMA agent that seems to have been tasked by Nicole's lawyer to assist Nicole during her time at the hotel. Nicole initially rejects this man's help upon hearing from him, but also makes the strange choice of holding on to this early iteration of a cell phone while deciding that it's time to leave the hotel before the storm outside worsens.
I don't know what Jenkins told you, but I have zero
Really?
intention of staying here longer than, let's say, 20 minutes.
Oh. But the storm.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm leaving straight away.
Maybe you're not aware.
Thanks for everything. Irving, right?
Irving. Yeah.
Bye.
Irving warns against this, saying that the conditions are only going to put her in danger, but Nicole decides to take the risk and returns to her car, only to find that its keys are missing from where she left them.
Okay.
Tell me you changed your mind.
If you haven't noticed, it's spoiler alerts for anyone who wants to play this game. So just be aware.
You there?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, right. It's a direct line.
I can't find my car keys. My fucking car keys. I left them on the seat.
You sure?
It does sound like she's kind of being a bitch.
Think so? Maybe someone...
No.
Between the conveniently placed phone, the missing car keys, and the crystal clear cellular reception during a blizzard in 1993,
I think the main plot has been revealed a while ago. Hey, I'm just putting it in late. So if anyone wants to get further information, I wouldn't want to completely ruin it for you.
It should be pretty obvious where this game is going. But this setup establishes what the rest of the game is going to be like. Nicole is stranded up at the timberline for the entirety of this story, a story that takes place over 9 days.
Oh shit, what am I doing?
Expositional voicemail establishes that phone service has been disconnected.
What the fuck?
Even though the gas
Everyone.
are still available for some reason.
No, we're not losing Krax.
The outside world is this Irving character, and the main conceit of this title is to explore the space, making sure that
No!
power and hot water, all while peeling away at the mystery surrounding the events that led to Rachel's suicide and the ensuing collapse of her family, all while developing the relationship between Nicole and this Irving. So at the risk of sounding reductive, this game is incredibly similar in structure to Campo Santo's Firewatch, with that game's narrative being focused around
No. We're
communicate over radio.
all right, hold on.
In the sense that we have this large space set in the
we're redoing this a little bit. In task. I'm safe scumming a little bit here. That is not happening. Let's go back. I missed some of that. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Why are you going over there? Options. Full screen. And then there we go. There we go. Boop. Let's hope it didn't go the way I wanted to. All right, let's go back a little bit and listen to some of that.
Tell me you changed your mind.
You there?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, right. It's a direct line.
I can't find my car keys. My fucking car keys. I left them on the seat.
Oh no.
Think so? Maybe someone...
No.
Between the conveniently placed phone, the missing car keys, and the crystal clear cellular reception during a blizzard in 1993, it should be pretty obvious where this game is going. But this setup establishes what the rest of the game is going to be like. Nicole is stranded up at the timberline for the entirety of this story, a story that takes place
There we go.
An early expositional voicemail establishes that phone service has been disconnected at the timberline, even though the gas and power are still available for some reason. Nicole's only contact to the outside world is this Irving character, and the main conceit of this title is to explore the space, making sure that Nicole has food, power, and hot water, all while peeling away at the mystery.
Oh, it's a survival game. I'm down.
The ensuing collapse of her family, all while developing the relationship between Nicole and this Irving. So at the risk of sounding reductive, this game is incredibly similar in structure to Campo Santo's Firewatch, with that game's narrative being focused around two park rangers that communicate over radio, and Gone Home in the sense that we have this large space set in the 90s with uncovering the mystery surrounding our family as the main focus. And similarly to Gone Home, and more deliberately The Shining, it doesn't take long for Rachel Foster to start flirting with evidence of the supernatural. Between the circumstances that brought you to this place, the paranoia that gets baked in with Nicole being stranded here, secret hallways and crawl spaces, and the overall ambient noise that just permeates this setting as the storm wages outside, this is...
Let's skip through it a little bit. I don't know that I need the entire story.
Day 4 is the first real day of consequence to this narrative outside of establishing the setting and atmosphere. We return to Nicole's perspective and find that she has ransacked Leonard's room in order to find clues about what happened with Rachel. And that Nicole has taken the extra step and done her best Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia impression and built something of an evidence board. This chapter takes place solely in this room, with Nicole and Irving going back and forth over newspaper clippings and other evidence that points to some of the strange goings-on around Rachel's death. First, we find that her body was found at the base of a cliff, and that the 16-year-old was 9 weeks pregnant at the time of her death. Officials were aware that Leonard and Rachel had been spending hours alone at a time before her death, and that the two had become physical at some point. Claire was the whistleblower on their romantic involvement, and she fled the timberline with Nicole after she had confronted Leonard. We learn that there was a suicide note left behind, and it is truly repugnant, as not only are the words hard to imagine from someone on the edge of taking their own life, but even handwriting experts doubted the note's authenticity. I don't even feel like reading this thing aloud, especially
All right, let's take a look here. let me kind of pre-read a little bit. I'm sorry for what I did. I didn't want to come to this, but I've no idea how to face the situation, so I chase the easy way. My father has always tried to teach me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what he's saying. To teach me what was right and what was not, but I've never listened to him. I can't bear the idea of having ruined 2 families with my weakness. Yeah, this is kind of deranged. Classmates, I'm stupid, retarded. He calls her who even someone who is like, if I was writing this note for someone, right? So Leonard is writing this note for her, obviously. This just sounds completely unrealistic. I don't deserve to keep having, maybe it is the right atonement for those, for being a bad daughter and an immoral person. God, will you be mad at me for Jesus?
Well,
That
really
is something else.
plain view, but I will put the text up on screen now.
Oh. Pause, Andy.
Along the newspaper articles and maps, there are also a few tabloid entries here as well that mention that a classmate of Rachel's had seen the girl at the Timberline Hotel after her reported death, and then there is also evidence on the desk in front of Nicole. A picture of Reverend Foster, Rachel's father, and examining this photo really just gives us a line of dialogue about how Leonard and the Reverend would play chess for hours and debate the great mysteries of the universe, before Nicole turns cold on the Reverend.
Back in the day, I thought he was a kind of reptilian with a human skin suit.
His daughter's death destroyed his ego. His faith made him even more cynical and lonely than he already was.
I can remember him demanding total perfection from Rachel. That was insane.
And then after a back and forth with Irving, Nicole mentions that it was unlikely that the Reverend was involved with Rachel's untimely death, but also that he shouldn't be taken at face value in this case. The lipstick has also been placed here, and me personally, I received a little lesson in cosmetics as Nicole explains that lipstick starts to smell really bad after a certain amount of time, which is just something that I didn't know, and that the
Interesting.
brand on the casing had been discontinued shortly after the time that she was living in the Timberline, with the importance of these quips pointing to the idea that this stick had belonged to Rachel and that it had been preserved and only recently opened. And then finally there is a poetry book on the cosmos that Leonard had scrawled notes about Rachel in. But the book had been published years after her death, pointing to both Leonard's continued obsession with the girl that he had groomed and the idea that the man still believed that some form of the girl had tethers to the Timberline. The 5th day is a sequence where a younger Nicole...
I dropped my fair share of hard R's back then because we didn't even... The term...
But as far... You could probably tell by my gameplay footage that I was dumbfounded in this section, with the chalkboard being the most striking thing I've probably ever seen in terms of environmental design. Giant letters that communicate what Linus Tech Tips understands to be the hard R.
Like, I'm not gonna I dropped my fair share of hard R's back then because we didn't even... The term...
But as fucked and edgy as all this is, the subtext of this room, that is the scary part. A room that Nicole and Irving understand to be a replica of Rachel's own room back at her house, a room with no windows, walls marked with chalk in a desperate attempt to have it look less like a cell in a rudimentary art style, a room meant for Rachel. A room where there is a speak and spell toy and a chalkboard meant to be learning aids for someone struggling with dyslexia, and the lesson for the day is retard, a slur that Rachel had been bullied with since childhood. Like, what the fuck is this? A pedophile fuck dungeon where the victim is subjected to who knows what horrors while simultaneously being berated for a disorder? Irving is completely freaked out after this room is explained to him, suggesting that authorities be called in immediately and that Nicole find her way out of the hotel altogether. But Nicole also finds a key that fits her childhood music.
I mean, that's kind of the idea, right? Is it's supposed to be this belittling room that this guy Leonard wasn't as nice as everybody thought. I haven't heard, it seems he's going to go over a summary of the game here at the end. We're probably going to do it here in just a few minutes, but I mean, so far from what I've seen from the little bit of skipping around is that Leonard's posted up as this big, I'm the greatest guy, but then she finds his fuck dungeon where he's belittling.
Get to the bottom of this. Irving even suggests that the key may be evidence that someone may have been in her room at some point, but that doesn't deter her either. But when he infers what this room may have said about Leonard's state of mind, especially after prolonged isolation in the hotel, Nicole once again defends the reverence that 101 Games seems to have for her father.
If it's true, you realize what that means.
What? What are you trying to tell me?
Your father... he spent years in there, in total solitude, with the weight of his family and Rachel on his conscience. He wasn't the kind of guy to just let the past slide with a shrug.
Okay.
You're joking, right?
Okay. That just kind of threw me off there a minute. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely glorifying the pedophile.
He did this.
Think about it. That room could be an act of love. Distorted, even
Holy shit, an act of love?
morbid, but in his eyes...
How dare you? My father might have had a lot of weaknesses, but surely what you're saying... Leave out that he cheated on my mom. Leave out that he fell in love with a 16-year-old, but fucking hell, don't you dare even think that! He would never have built a fucking underground shrine for a dead person.
And I can't follow this writing. We have Irving minimizing the existence of this room by calling it a potential act of love, Nicole immediately defending her father and using language like fell in love with a 16-year-old, and then having her bring into the idea that Leonard
not the best directing.
A dead person. I'm just going to throw out that before we get to the end, that in the last chapter, there is some further information that makes this situation even more murky. But the point remains. Nicole, Claire, Irving, really everyone including the media coverage simply looks at Rachel's suicide as an isolated incident. And they treat it like she did a bad thing by getting involved with a married man and then killed herself, and case closed. The only dissenting opinion present in this game comes in the form of a few pieces of paper that are immediately labeled as slander. At no point does anyone, and seemingly the developers, find it necessary to point out that Leonard was the only adult in this situation. And that is why this Montana thing is so fucked up. We can say that this 16-year-old was effectively an adult when it came to this sexual situation, but that same 16-year-old wouldn't have been able to buy liquor, smoke cigarettes, or even join the fucking military. But being groomed, influenced, and later impregnated by a man of nearly 50 years, that's all well and good. At no point does anyone look at this man as if he was in the wrong. It is seldom brought up that he had a daughter that was effectively the same age, and what is all the worse is that we are never given any true insight into who Rachel was as a person, with no further characterization other than being a victim.
Jesus.
All we know about her, and I'm going to use this game's problematic language, we know that she was viewed as attractive, talked and moved with the grace of an adult, according to Nicole, who clearly
moved with the grace of an adult. What a weird thing to say. What a weird thing to say in a video game.
Some sort of bizarre jealousy towards her, which who the fuck even knows what that means? Grace of an adult? Fuck all that. We know that she was bullied. We know that her father had expectations for her that were beyond realistic. We know that she needed help for her disorder, and we know that this old dude was obsessed with her. But even this obsession, it was never explained. We were never given any reasons for it outside of looking good and having some sort of nebulous poise. We are never given any real clue into who she was, how she felt, what her motivations were, and all of Leonard's communications regarding her are all nebulous and obsessive. The chapter ends with Nicole hanging up on Irving, recounting the events since she had entered the Timberline to herself, and more or less looking for any alternative viewpoint, including Rachel having faked her own death in order to cope with what she has seen while protecting Leonard's precious image. After these ramblings, she returns to her room and uses the key she found in the dungeon to open her music box. And on the inside, she finds the hockey medal that she won in what happened to be her final game. A game that coincidentally took place on the same night that Rachel had reportedly died, and also the same night that Claire fled the timberline with Nicole after some sort of altercation occurred between the two parents. The final day is the big one. It begins with Nicole standing in front of the closed-off West Wing, the one place in the hotel that we have not been to yet. Standing here, Nicole explains the events of the game so far to Irving.
There are too many things that I took for granted. It's as if someone was putting pieces of my past in front of me to show them to me under another light.
A one-off comment
Another light.
conversation causes Nicole to retrace the events of the night that Rachel died. And the first thing Nicole remembers is her mother ordering her to close up the storeroom by the mezzanine. So that becomes our
Really? Oh, God. All right.
hotel to a corner that has not been explored up until now. But while making this video, it became apparent why. This corner, this secret little storage room, was completely blocked off up until now by some large boxes. Inside the room is an elaborate diorama. Dozens of crowded together mannequins with their backs turned to one laying on the ground with a baby doll clutched to its stomach, while another stands over the downed figure brandishing a hockey stick. This scene also marks the end of Nicole's current relationship with Irving, with his tone being completely different the next time we hear from him.
Where are you, Nicole?
It's about time. Did you hear my messages?
How many doors have you opened, Nicole? How many are still missing?
What doors are you talking about?
Keep going.
And if it wasn't clear from
What?
this not-so-coded message, it reveals to us that the West Wing has now been open for exploration. Before we make it to Leonard's
Okay.
seemingly the final goal of this game, we pass through what is obviously a base of operations. Engine diagrams for your Dodge, weather maps, radio equipment, data on Nicole. If it isn't obvious before the madman's monologue kicks in, this is where Irving has been hiding for the majority of this narrative, with him obviously moving around at key moments to keep you on the design path. And yeah, the plot really starts to fall apart here as far as motives and particulars go. How Irving was able to time everything so perfectly and ensure that Nicole was alone in the timberline, Irving requiring that Nicole be here in order to piece everything together, even though he clearly understood the chain of events that led to Rachel's death, and even the last minute reveal that Irving was in reality Rachel's brother, a brother that pretty much nobody.
What?
It only gets more convoluted from this point on as we blast towards the game's conclusion. We find out that Irving and Leonard had been trying to piece together the events surrounding Rachel's death for years, and that all of this work has been leading up to this exact moment. And real quick, there is another choice in Irving's monologue that I'm afraid may have gone largely unnoticed by a lot of people. And it's a dumb, subtle thing, but it furthers just how mean-spirited this game is with its subject matter.
Rachel?
She was like that. Free and strong. At the time, I didn't understand her dyslexia. Or what retard meant.
What the heck is going on with this game? Oh, Jesus.
Fucking choice. But nothing in this game really compares to what might
What the
be
hell?
the most disgusting lines of dialogue that I've ever heard in all of media.
One day, that beautiful, luminous creature met someone. A human being that saw her. For real. Yes.
This is like it's.
The invisible witness of what happened. A love. Simply a love. Nothing more, nothing less.
I just can't with this fucking game. The brother of a murder victim whose only friend was his sister, somehow able to jump through all these hoops and logic and ignore everything that Leonard had done, and being able to dismiss it all as nothing but the beginning of what was supposed to be a match made in heaven. I can't take that ride with you, little bro. But Nicole seems to accept Irving's claims, and instead she goes into a self-pitying state where she says this.
For the first time in years, I depended on someone. And this is the result.
From here, we make our way deeper into the West Wing. But by this point, enough has fallen into place to really know where the story is going. The man cave really doesn't offer anything too important. The keys to your mom's car down in the garage where this game started, some charcoal drawings of Rachel's naked form, further cementing the idea that Leonard's infatuation with Rachel was purely sexual, and then a projector. This device displays a final message from Leonard. The first time that we're really able to get a sense of who this man was. But it's all just cryptic bullshit for the most part.
We studied, we listened. We listened to her.
Yeah, this just sounds like a cringe pedophile trying to cope on the fact, no, I was so sweet to her. I loved her. Like, how many times have you heard that kind of talk from a pedophile?
Enough to decipher those muted vowels, those wide open eyes, those tears of light.
He vomits word salad that talks about love, the stars, death, and Rachel still being in the hotel. This whole final transmission acts as something of a suicide note for Leonard, but there is never any real sense of self-awareness or owning up to his involvement in the events that consumed his life. He is a tired victim. And this is all just self-important drivel. Right after the reel ends, we hear the scratching of chalk on a blackboard, and in turning around, we see it. We catch the board turning itself over to reveal the word murderer. Suggesting what? That Rachel's in the room? Or that Nicole's the murderer? No, it's not Nicole. Don't worry, this game doesn't go completely insane on top of morally. We are left with our final real objective. Get down to Claire's car in the garage and find the final pieces of the puzzle. And it should be stated that on the way back down to the garage, we see further evidence of the paranormal with doors slamming shut. So it might be the writer's intent to suggest that Leonard was right about everything, and that he had somehow pierced the veil between the realm of the living and the dead, and that he was guided by some sort of cosmic force and bringing all of this together with Irving. And now everything up into this sequence was just an elaborate stage show to get Nicole to understand the truth behind everything, including the fucked up dungeon room below. But Irving,
I had to have the sex dungeon with retard on the wall. It was helping with the ghosts.
That dungeon makes things even more confusing, as he seemed genuinely as shocked as Nicole upon hearing about it. And since there is no concrete way of knowing when Irving was being truthful with us or just stringing Nicole along, at its best, this means this whole thing was just a shitty escape room with some really bad writers. But at its worst interpretation, some of the horrors in this hotel were simply forgiven by Irving because he had witnessed real love. Whatever. By this point, I was so alienated that I just wanted to get this thing over with. The final sequence of events takes place upon getting to Claire's car, finding a bloody blanket or shirt wrapped around something in the trunk, and then taking it to the laundry room and cleaning it off for reasons to reveal Rachel's retainer. At this point, Nicole just has a breakdown as she spells...
It's a crucial part of the plot. I just... Could you imagine like a room full of these devs, however many made this game, and they're like, listen, we need the pedophile rape room. How else are they going to find out about the ghost?
Narrative. Claire had discovered that Leonard was sleeping with Rachel, and seemingly in a fit of rage, Claire killed the 16-year-old with Nicole's hockey stick, presumably in the storage room on the mezzanine. Then she dragged her body into her car, cleaned off the stick, and still managed to get Nicole to her big game with the murder weapon as her piece of equipment. At some point, Nicole realized that she couldn't see her mom in the stands, and that is because Claire was busy driving her car over to a cliff in order to dispose of Rachel's body in an attempt to make it look like she had taken her own life. She then picked up Nicole from the game, then went home, confronted Leonard, and then packed her shit with Nicole and drove off in the middle of the night with an uncle. All of this was known by Irving. It had to have been for the puzzle box he created to work. But after Nicole recounts all of this, he thanks her for piecing everything together, with the only potential unique information that Nicole had in all of this being that she kinda stumbled upon her mom looking a little crazy in the garage before they took off to the game. That little misunderstood moment in the mind of a teenager was what made Nicole the missing piece in all this. It's bullshit. And then finally, Irving's final transmission kind of just speaks for itself.
What? Irving, where are you?
It's wide as far as the eye can see, beyond the mountains.
You left the hotel? But it's too cold. You'll die out there. Irving, please.
I've lived in the dark for years. You freed me. And now I can finally rest in the light. I can go back.
It being presumed that Irving, now having completed his mission, ran off into the cold to go kill himself, presumably at the same cliff that Rachel had been thrown off. And it's a pretty unsatisfying moment. This big reveal. Mom did it because she was jealous. And these two creepy, obsessive people that have been just kind of fucking with you for no real reason. But because one of them had an astrophysics degree, we are supposed to think that these random scribbles everywhere were him figuring out that Nicole had to be here in this space 10 years later after everything went down. I mean, what the hell? But the actual ending of this game takes things to a completely insane level. Granted, Nicole now knows the truth of everything, and she's definitely had a fairly rough go of it lately. But the final scene of this game features Nicole deciding to take her own life. After Irving's final transmission,
Really?
the screen cuts to black and we find Nicole transported into the driver's seat of her car. In the gap between the two scenes, she somehow located and manufactured the means to have the carbon monoxide from the car's tailpipe funneled into the car, and then made sure that it held enough of a seal to hold in the toxic fumes. Jenkins calls as Nicole sits there in a catatonic state. Somehow Jenkins had access to the phone that Irving had supplied her with, which makes no fucking sense. It kind of seems like it operated more like a walkie-talkie, or that
You're worried about that plot hole?
they were the only two lines of communication. But she just explains that she won't be selling the hotel anymore, and then she just turns on the engine, with the game ending as the interior of the car begins to fill with deadly poison. Like, how is this a real game? It should be stated that as this entire sequence requires that you be the one that turns over the engine and effectively kills Nicole yourself, there is an alternative ending where you can turn the engine off before it kills her. But this is hardly even a different ending. Either she dies with her last thoughts being the ramblings of an insane person, or she rambles to herself about how she's going to continue living at the Timberline with her entire family now. None of this makes sense. None of it's well researched. It's all insanely mean-spirited, and it betrays some not-so-flattering decision-making by Daniel Azzara and the rest of the staff. I'm not going to go
Jesus.
but there was a point in my life where death seemed to be a more welcome fate than continuing to struggle.
Okay. All right. You're getting a little soy there. I get it. Let's... Mental health. The game ending. All right. So we pretty much know the... It looks like the rest of the stuff is him talking about age gaps and stuff like that. So pretty degenerate game, I would say. It felt like it could have had purpose at some point, but then it just kind of went fucking crazy. So so the next game we have in line is, this one's pretty infamous too. If you've ever heard the game Sad Satan, the internet's most dangerous rabbit hole, this game is fucking nuts. And not really for the game itself, but some of the things that are in the game. Yeah, it was.
We're all at this point very familiar with ARGs and the hold that they have on the internet. They pose as rabbit holes and mysteries that the viewer can take place into.
But in the end, no one knew if the real thing even existed. True.
Solve and watch unfold, giving us some of that old internet magic back.
Oh, that's right. This wasn't even so much as a game as it was an ARG where supposedly there was pedophile material on there. Little side content.
However, is not an ARG.
Oh.
Not anymore. In 2015, on r/creepy gaming that, unbeknownst to the poster, would open up a rabbit hole far darker than anyone could have imagined. The post simply being titled Sad Satan Deep Web Horror Game. Reddit user 86 Hachiroku posted gameplay from his own channel, Obscure Horror Corner, with no text body, simply just showing off what seems to be an obscure game he found and uploaded to his channel. The gameplay has no commentary, and as of today, the video has no description either. Curious. There are only 4 current videos on the channel about Sad Satan, all of which have no description, no commentary, and a very loose theme tying them all together. The gameplay loop seems to just be walking around, having some spooky sounds around you, and having images flash on screen. So where exactly is the mystery here? Clicking on the video from the Reddit post made me realize that the gameplay being shown is actually a part 2, but reading through some of the comments, it seems as if at one point this was showcasing part 1. Even more curious. Going back to the Reddit post and looking through the comments, I found a post called Uncovering the Secrets of Sad Satan, which is now deleted. Dead end. This was my initial experience trying to revisit the old internet mystery of Sad Satan in modern day. Pretty anticlimactic, right? But as frustrating as this is, I wasn't about to just let it stop me. I mean, it's to be expected. This mystery is almost 10 years old as of this year, so a lot of information is either going to be missing or this mystery has been solved 10 times over by some group of internet sleuths who have probably been at it way longer than I have. But what even is Sad Satan? You haven't even explained that yet, I can already hear you saying in the comments. Allow me to restart with what the internet already knows.
God, yeah, I should have watched a little bit more of this. I forgot it was
First appearance on the channel mentioned prior, Obscure Horror Corner, who claimed to have received this game file from an anonymous subscriber. The game is supposed to be the scariest and most disturbing game ever made. Very quickly after the first 3 initial gameplay videos were released, Kotaku would pick up on this. Right.
Kotaku picked up on it. That's always a good sign.
With both Obscure Horror Corner and the subscriber who sent the link, somehow. This article being titled, A Horror Game That May Be Hidden in the Darkest Corners of the Internet. The article gives us a look into all of the obscure and disturbing imagery shown in the series of videos so far, and we will be coming back to this later. This article took the game from blowing up on Reddit to blowing up everywhere almost instantly, starting a hunt by various online communities to figure out what this game is, who made it, and why. Several theories started springing up around the game's origin, from a cult recruitment tool to a dark web psyop, all due to the strange images and audio that seem to try and tell you a story. But here's the thing, something wasn't adding up. The deeper I went, the stranger it got, and the more I found. So let's go back to the beginning. The initial Part 1 Sad Satan video came out June 25th, 2015. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it just has all the makings of an ARG. So is
Most of the gameplay, like I said, is just walking around a very low quality hallway. But it's the sounds and the seemingly random images that flash throughout the game that tell us what's really going on here. We hear a young girl, speaking in reverse. It's a Polish number station that was used to transmit messages in code. This is a very famous clip and starts with beeps and chimes and then the girl talking. It was first in the 60s, but it's possibly older. Then for a split second, we see this image appear, switching the audio and making things more distorted.
wasn't it thought that this game had like pedophile images in it, or like some videos of CSAM?
Later on, we hear some slow
quote-unquote game.
down screams, then a weird one. It's a slowed down song of someone saying, "Keep pushing me over and over and over again. Follow the beacon, Our Lady Liberty stands for none. It's a vicious world eating her own." Looking up these lyrics brings us to a song called Lynch Mob made by KMFDM in 2011, but it doesn't really seem to tie into anything just yet. A random distorted man saying something near indecipherable. Another flash of this image appears.
Yeah, allegedly so.
Flash of an image of Margaret Thatcher and a man named Jimmy Savile holding signs that say NSPCC is great, before a snippet of Stairway of Heaven is playing backwards, where you can hear the words "Sad Satan" over and over again before the video ends.
Yeah.
What can we get from this? Well, honestly, not much. So far, it's a project. No real themes between the pictures, all just kind of random, right? The image here depicting a man in the hallway surrounded by horns is from Walter Sanders, a German photographer. The photograph is of Franz Joseph IX, Prince of Thurn and Taxes, who it seems, after doing some research, really just liked hunting. Neither of these people seem too important to the story and feels more like just a creepy picture thrown in here to make you feel uneasy. The other image, on the other hand, this one is an interesting choice. The pictures depicting Margaret Thatcher and Jimmy Savile holding the sign saying NSPCC is great has some very interesting implications. The NSPCC National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. Jimmy Savile was a well-known BBC host of his shows such as Top of the
Oh, Jimmy Savile. Okay. Yeah, one of the most notorious pedophiles.
And won many prestigious rewards throughout his life for his selfless actions. When he died, however, he was outed for over 400 different counts of sexual abuse, most of them against children, making him one of the most prolific law the UK has ever seen. He used his connections and power to abuse children and the elderly as his main victims in the hospitals he was funding. This image
Jesus, I haven't looked much into him.
And the elite, showing how they mock their own victims through their charity work. The music choice for this part as well is very interesting. More than likely, this is an indication as to why the game is named Sad Satan. Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven has been the target of many conspiracies due to what it sounds like when playing backwards.
Old recordings playing backwards.
And as you heard, it includes the words Sad Satan. But it might also...
Yes, it very much so is. Brings back some memories.
...have another meaning in this context. Jimmy Page, one of the members of Led Zeppelin, was notorious for dating a 14-year-old during his time within the band. I don't know if this is enough to tie into a theme just yet, so let's take a look at the other parts of the Let's Play. Part 2 was released June 27th, 2015. The video shows something not seen in the last part, a door. When OHS walks up to it, a text pops up. Rescue with key, suffering, doors locked. 30 seconds in, this picture pops up, and it stays on the screen for a little longer than usual. A strange, unintelligible speech starts playing, and then a picture of JFK moments before his assassination flicks onto the screen. After a while of walking around in the random spooky parts of the map, he ends up back at the door, but this time, it opens. Walking through it...
God, I am not doing well on this colony. Like, no food. Everyone's upset. Just not going well.
And then the Led Zeppelin Reversed comes back just for a second. After this, something very interesting happens. A little girl appears. Not an image, an actual in-game asset. As he gets closer, we see that her face is disfigured, covered in blood from the open wounds that cover her head. This triggers a new mechanic.
Yeah, fuck that. This is what I think was the thing that people were saying was the sounds of a rape that may have been underage. I think this is the start of it.
This clearly scared OHS, as he starts trying to run in a random direction. As he's running, the picture of Jimmy Seville flashes again, and he enters a new room, becoming surrounded by bloody children. The video ends. This part feels a lot more technically advanced than the beginning. Not by much, but most definitely better. So let's break it down. The picture of what to me looks like a malnourished kid is a photo taken by Roger Ballin in a compilation, Shadow Chamber, a strange avant-garde photo compilation of black and white, decrepit, and slightly uncomfortable images. It's a strange picture, but not the most disturbing in the catalog. The JFK photo that appears, along with everything else, makes almost no sense, and I'm honestly not really sure why it's here. The Baphomet picture, along with the snippet of Led Zeppelin, seems to just be another hint at the game's name if you didn't get it the first time. But the Jimmy Seville popping up right after we run into a bloodied child, it's clear that that's the message this game is trying to push. Although, the plot at this point feels a bit messy, and I'm not exactly sure where we're going here. It still feels like these images are just put here for shock factor. But this is the point in which the first Reddit post was made, in which we actually get some interesting comments that OHS responds to. I would have kept going, but I stopped at 1 minute. Don't trust pictures from the deep web. There's no corpses or CP if that's what you mean. Exactly what I mean. I thought I'd see gore after seeing Kennedy. There's been nothing like that in this game. So far, anyway. This message isn't important just yet, but we will come back to this. And it does seem at this point that OHS is following the story along with us. Part 3 was posted June 30th of 2015, and the video starts with something we've never seen in the other two. It seems that OHC has a lantern, which seems to be an entirely new feature, but it isn't the only new thing in this part. We have codes now. The first code appears and a reversed voice starts playing, but quickly goes away.
Are those genders? Oh.
After this, we get what appears to be a pitched-down version of a speech from Charles Manson, a very famous cult leader and serial killer.
I live where there's no TV, there's no radio, there's no clocks, there's no electric lights. The girls carry water. They don't wear makeup. They have their babies by themselves. They go in the shack and squat down and have their babies. I live on the ground. I live on the earth. I don't live. I lived in Hollywood, and I had all that. The Rolls Royce and the Ferrari and the pad in Beverly Hills. I had the surfboard and the Beach Boys and the Beaskies and the Neil Diamond and the Rob Scott and the Jimmy Griffin and Elvis Presley's, Mesca Bestleys and all them guys.
Over time, more and more codes show up, and then we get a picture of one of the rooms, with a strange song playing in reverse.
Jesus, just ear violence.
which turns out to be the infamous propaganda song from another game with its own rabbit hole, Hong Kong 97. The vast majority of this part is just listening to Charles Manson as codes flash on the screen, so we're just gonna get to the codes. The first code translates into, I can track you. Second, good luck. You're alone. Buried. Kill, kill, and kill again. You are on my list. 5, victim. Hail 666. Sad people died. I didn't crack this, but others did long before I came along. The process they used, I honestly don't even know. Something about subtraction, I'm kinda dumb, but it is interesting. Searching around as to what this could even mean pointed out to multiple theories. Theory 1. The game is tracking the player and the messages are meant to either spook them, warn them, or both. This theory relies on the idea that there might have been something within the game file that's been watching the player, although when it comes down to the gameplay we see, there's nothing really pointing to that outside of the random teleporting that happens across the maze, which could just easily be pre-existing triggers. Theory 2. This has to do with the infamous satanic sex cult Satanists of Ash Tree Close, which is a British cult operating in Wales. It had a
oh, Jesus.
child trafficking ring. This fits with the theme of the other two parts, so it makes sense, but honestly, I'm not so sure. Something about this game isn't adding up, so let's go ahead and dive deeper. July 1st of 2015. We get something different.
I mean, so far, like, whether it's a real game or not, it just seems like it's pushing to be some dark web, edgy, pedophile hinted game. So it's probably not the worst of them on here, considering no one knows if it's real.
Different. The Kotaku article. In the deep corners of the internet, a video game is said to exist. It's called Sad Satan, and it's a horror game unlike any other I've come across. Sad Satan cannot be bought at GameStop, nor can it be downloaded digitally via traditional storefronts like Steam. It allegedly can only be downloaded via the tools that can access the hidden depths of the internet like Tor. This article has a lot of information in it about how OHC got his hands on the game and his experience so far. We aren't going to read all of it since most of the article is just a breakdown of what the writer thought the game.
So hold on. If this game is just, if it's an ARG, right? If it was an ARG, you're telling me that like Kotaku posted it and brought it up as real. I guess this was a period, like, it was probably out in a period of time when ARGs were still very much new, but to get this kind of recognition is very interesting.
But we will be reading the interview of OHC, or Jamie as he's called, and the anonymous subscriber. A little while back, Jamie, the proprietor of the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner, says he dove into the deep web to download a mysterious game hosted on an Onion site. The file was called Sad Satan, and it was a horror game that piqued his interest. It was, after all, an obscure horror game that he could feature on his YouTube channel. I don't use the deep web too often, Jamie told me last week, but a month or two ago, a subscriber sent me a link and said they found something creepy, and knew that I would be interested, which of course I was.
I mean, it's adding into that the deep web is scary, simple stuff like that. So yeah, no, I kind of leaning more into ARG. I don't remember a lot of the stuff that I read about the game or watched videos about the game, more likely.
Malware check and other virus stuff on the file, and it seemed okay. So I just shot ahead with it, Jamie said. What Jamie says he found was kind of inscrutable. Creepy, enigmatic, but inscrutable. Thankfully, Jamie actually documented his playthrough of the game. Jamie claims that the game came with a file that freaked him out so
I should make a game where you have to escape a dark maze after finding a McRib while avoiding a rabid killer pig. I'll call it The Legend of Eric and War Mazing Daddy. Dude, damage section, the names. I'd play it.
He ended up deleting the game off their computer. It was getting a bit strange. A notepad file that went along with the game kept appearing on my desktop each time I played the game with some gibberish messages, Jamie wrote on the first video's YouTube description. I asked for proof, but couldn't get any. I unfortunately have no screenshots of the notepad files, Jamie told me. They were genuinely gibberish text. It didn't seem to be in any language, just symbols and numbers really. I did notice 666 a few times, which fits, I guess, considering the title of the game. Jamie says he has no idea what the game is or who made it. They're hoping that by sharing the videos, they'll be able to find out more. I spoke to the subscriber that supposedly sent Jamie the game in the first place. He wished to remain anonymous. I first found out about the game on a deep web forum, he claimed. It's like an all-purpose site. All of your usual forums can be found there. Tech help, reviews, fitness, things like that. Plus some original content. This deep web frequenter says that someone put up a link to a game on these forums. Something which is supposedly kind of unusual for that corner of the internet. That was the first time I had seen a game posted on the site, he said. If media floated around on this website, it was more likely to be music and movies, not games, and certainly not user-created games. The user never specified whether it was his own content or someone else's, but I presume it was the user's game, he said. He signed off his post with ZK. My deep web informant doesn't know much about ZK. It is, after all, an anonymous forum. I have seen other posts sign off with ZK, mostly comments, which were very odd, he said. Some of the stuff ZK posted before was pretty weird. Dark view, satanic mumbo jumbo. Whether it's nefarious or all in good fun, I can't really say, he mused. He said that while it's entirely possible that the game has some dark ulterior motive, that he's waiting to see what else is contained within it before making a judgment. Apparently, the entire reason that he shared the game with Jamie was because he couldn't get the game to run on his own computer. So he, like the rest of us, can only experience the game.
Interesting.
So now we have something more to go off of. Not only do we know where this game may have come from, but we also know that Jamie did in fact have descriptions in his videos explaining some of the story on how he got his hands on this, and that those descriptions had what has been explained as a broken link to download the game. So why delete the descriptions?
Because then someone might find it.
A lot seems to not be adding up, and I honestly don't know how to feel about it. The deletion of the game after a few playthroughs that happened months before the initial posting of the videos. This would mean that he already finished his Let's Play before posting any of these videos. But here we have him saying this. There's been nothing like that in this game so far, anyway. Why would he say so far if he already knew it wasn't there? On top of this, the gameplay itself seemed to be getting more and more complex with each upload, as if the game was growing with the Let's Play. And how exactly did Kotaku find this anonymous subscriber? How did they get that connection? Our narrator is lying to us, but I don't know about what just yet, and I'd rather hold my peace until I fully On to part 4 then. Part 4 was released July 3rd, 2015. The very first second of this video shows the image of the infamous otaku killer, a Japanese mafia who raped and murdered 4 young children, eating them afterwards. Then an image of the Lady of Justice.
Jesus, why does, okay, Japan doesn't have as many serial killers as us, but I feel like the ones that I've seen or read about are like the most degenerate and the worst ones that I've ever heard.
Sure is trying to insinuate the failure of our justice system. Another door and reverse speech. Another door followed by the text, "Stop doing this," in a sped up voice. Now, man.
Uh-oh. This isn't going to end good.
Walking out of the door, he runs into part of the map that we have never seen before, an open area that seems to be outside. Getting himself stuck, he runs around finding multiple doors, but only one opens. Another room type we haven't seen, a pink room. Once inside, the image of Jimmy Savile and Margaret Thatcher appear again. He leaves, goes on to one of the other doors, which is now unlocked. Once he enters, the text, "Everyone is ready for the party," appears, in another room type we haven't seen. A slim hallway with an opening leading to an endless void. After walking around a bit more, the texture changes back to the original black and white, and we get another picture of the otaku killer, this time without his eyes and mouth drawn over. This image stays here for an uncomfortably long period of time. After it leaves, another message. Come in and have some fun. And then an image we haven't seen before. An image of the Australian entertainer and convicted child abuser.
Yeah, it's really just a shitty ARG. So far, I haven't seen anything that states otherwise.
Afterwards,
like it's not even a good one. Oh, man.
He runs into the little girl again. This time, she is in every corner of the room. Leaving, he sees another picture of Rolf Harris, and yet another room type we have not.
I'm just going to show pictures of pedophiles and... Checked fuel. Actually, let's just deconstruct that fucker.
A red room with reversed crying and an unreadable message on the wall, then ends with another picture of the otaku killer and our good friend Led Zeppelin's reverse song. If you couldn't tell by now, the game is about child trafficking and those who have hurt children. Almost everything in this game has been added to either show you that premise or to spook you, but even then, some of what has been shown doesn't even make any sense. Why show JFK in part 2? Why add a song only famous in a game that only people into obscure horror game circles would know? Fortunately, part 4 confirmed my suspicions. Jamie has been lying to us. But why? This game did not come from the deep web. It came from Jamie himself, and he only made the game's story up to gain traction for his channel. And I'm not the only one who figured this out. This game is not impressive. I don't think that's unfair to say. Anyone with knowledge on how to work a game engine could pull this off. But the giveaway is the fact that this game has been evolving with every single playthrough Jamie has done. Every opening in this game is a fully different area than the last episode, and each episode has new mechanics not previously seen. Progress just kind of happens without explanation. Jamie, in multiple instances across Reddit as well at this point, has acted as if he was actively playing the game with the uploads, which contradicts his statement of deletion in the Kotaku article. This led me back to the question, why did he delete the descriptions for the videos? Well, it turns out someone on 4chan figured out that the link that Jamie put in his bio was fully impossible to ever exist. The story on how he got the game is totally fake. The Onion link that he posted never actually existed.
So is the Kotaku article fake? Like...
In fact, it's impossible
what the hell?
to get work with Tor. How do I know this? Very simple.
No!
Addresses
well, we killed them, but...
are generally opaque, non-mnemonic, 16-character alpha semi-numeric hashes which are automatically generated based on a public key when hidden services are connected. These 16-character hashes can be made up of any letter of the alphabet and decimal digits from 2 to 7. The key part in this is decimal digits from 2 to 7. Now take a look at the link he provided. That 9 shouldn't be there. He just made up the whole story to get subs on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
Proving that not only does this game not come from the deep web, it was impossible for it to have ever existed in the first place. Jamie, finding this out, deleted the descriptions as fast as he could. He didn't want to give up the ghost just yet. But why lie? ARGs at the time were still prevalent and it would have been fine. But he posed this as some giant internet mystery that totally exists. On top of this, once this 4chan post was made, people found an old comment from Jamie himself underneath one of his videos. Awesome stuff, bro. Keep up the good work. I love seeing these games. Thanks. I haven't been too active lately because I've been working on creating my own game. I'll hopefully
what the heck?
About that soon enough. This added alongside the fact that people found out that Jamie actually lives in the UK, where most of the plot of Sad Satan takes place. Jimmy Seville, Margaret Thatcher, Rolf Harris, some of the cults, they all take place within the UK, for the most part. Take into account, Obscure Horror Corner was created in 2014, and Sad Satan was the video series that blew up their channel from 2,000 subscribers to over 100,000 subscribers in almost 2 weeks. It makes sense as to why he wanted to keep the mystery alive, but this was the worst way to do it. Once figure out that he was lying, interest in the project quickly died. It was edgy to be edgy. The creator wanted to make everyone think was real, but wasn't. And it was the realness and the deep web aspect of it that made this game so fascinating. If it wasn't tied to the deep web, honestly, no one would have ever even bothered with it in the first place.
Well, yeah, that's the thing of the time, right? Scare people of the deep web because no one really knew what the deep web was, and go from there. And you've got yourself, because like how many videos are there out about scariest shit found on the deep web?
Jamie knew this, and so that's why he deleted the description. That is why he lied. But it wasn't over, and we haven't even gotten to the worst part. Because despite the confusion most were going through with this revelation, something truly disgusting reared its head into this mystery. On July 7th of 2015, 2 days after Jamie was exposed for lying about the game's origins, a post on 4chan's paranormal board would appear. What you see—
oh god.
that coward obscure horror corner. He did not show you what was truly in this game. Signed, ZK. A couple of minutes later, a revision to the Kotaku article would be made regarding Jamie's faked link. Fans of Sad Satan have spent a good deal of time analyzing the game, its references, and potential origins. The search has produced some interesting insights, many of which reinforce the idea that the game is about child abuse. Along the way, another question has popped up. Scary as it might be, was the game truly found in the deep web, as the YouTube uploader claimed? People sent me a variety of rationales for and against the possibility that Sad Satan came from the deep web. Some valid, others not. What stood out to me was the allegation that the deep web link provided in the YouTube description for the initial video contained the number 9, which is a number that is unlikely to be found in Onion links. I contacted the proprietor of Obscure Horror Corner to ask what was going on with the link. He now says he gave people the wrong link because the real one had, he claims, also included gore pictures and child pornography. I didn't feel comfortable giving out a link for something like that. He did not share that link with me. Unfortunately, that makes it harder for me to put as much credence into the rest of his account, even though he maintains it's true. Sad Satan remains interesting and worth covering given how effective it is despite—
So yeah, so far I guess it's just an 8. I feel like I remember there being more to this than that, but who is ZK? We'll go here.
This from a fun, silly little internet mystery to a lie that made the audience absolutely pissed to one of the worst cases of internet crimes ever committed. We have 3 options and 3 theories. 1. Jamie was telling the truth. This theory has almost nothing to back it up, if I'm going to be honest with you, and in order to believe it, you have to disregard all lies Jamie has told throughout this rabbit hole. But let's play this angle for just a little bit. ZK is real and is who made this game. The anonymous subscriber is real and sent this game to OHC, and OHC played all of this in one sitting before he deleted it a month before posting it. He told people there was no CP and gore in this playthrough, and even though he changes his story later down the line, I have to make something up to kind of defend this real quick because it makes no sense otherwise. He carefully went through all of the gameplay and edited out all of the gore and CP, still having it on his computer either way, making him a criminal, but he lied about it so that way people felt more comfortable. The only real evidence helping this case is that the new version doesn't have most of the original images, and that the clone is a pretty bad knockoff, with most of the in-game assets and the map—
Okay, but this is still assuming that all of this is fucking real.
not really matching the Let's Plays. This one is the hardest theory to believe, and honestly, I don't know anyone that does believe it. Theory 2. Jamie did lie, but the 4chan post was a troll. This is the theory that most believe, that Jamie made everything up but was the target of a troll from 4chan. Honestly, a lot can point to this. Again, the fact that the clone barely resembles the gameplay from Jamie's channel, despite being such an easy game to replicate. It was missing even the simplest of images and sound bites from the original, and was also very clearly rushed. On top of this, on the 9th of July 2015, we actually had Jamie respond, which is something he hasn't done at all during this time. time. I didn't make the clone. Some seedy 4chan cunt thought it would be hilarious to troll some people at my expense. Yes, I extremely angry about this because I'm getting messages from people telling.
Okay, this is just kind of back and forth on if there's CP on it or not. Let's just move on here. This one, McDizzle sent out here. Now I couldn't find it. No, this one's ethnic cleansing. There we go. McDizzle sent this one out. I couldn't find anything talking about the game except for a Hassan video, but he didn't really talk about it. It was like very, very light. So I figured we'd watch some gameplay on it and just kind of see what comes from it.
I'll ask Al-Aqsa or whatever, I don't know, training camp here. Alright, start. God, dude, this game is gonna be so controversial. Yeah, but anyway, let's see how this is. Oh, what's it say here? Location, the Jezreel Valley. Arabic Romanized Marriage Ibn Amir, also known as the Valley of Megiddo. Large fertile plain inland valley of the northern district of Palestine. This is a secret camp used by the...
If you don't know this game, you play a Palestinian soldier.
I'll ask army members to train for operations before the martyrdom. Oh shit. Of their members and prison before the martyrdom of their members and prison of their leader Abu Abayada. Now you must use this training camp to prepare yourself for Operation Muhammad al-Falastini. What do we have here? Rifle, basic movements, rifle, bullet time.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, that's just kind of...
Desert belong to the Israeli occupation forces. This is uses training for new Zionist soldiers to develop new weaponry and technology. We can infiltrate this, destroy missile launchers, steal the drone prototype, and eliminate all IDF soldiers. All right, let's do this. Holy shit! This place looks pretty well guarded, dude. Goddamn. Oh shit! There I am. Goddamn, coming in like. Do I have a shield on me, bro? Is this like Halo? Oh god. Where are they? Oh, I can't get up there.
God, at this point, yes, I need the help.
What? I triggered the alarm already? Ow, that hurts my ears. Failed the game already. Oh, wow. Alright, reach right. Jesus. Oh my god. Alright, yes, it is. Apparently I'm supposed to sneak or whatever through here. Oh, okay. So don't go up the stairs. God, dude, how many times am I gonna fail this mission? Alright, yep. What do I do here? Can I shoot the spotlights? What am I supposed to do? I'm confused on what I'm supposed to do here. I can't go up there because they'll just spot me.
Okay. Do something.
Oh, I got a 2 kill streak. What the fuck's... Oh. I got RPG'd. What the fuck is this? Rejoice, mother, oh martyr, rejoice, prepare your son for his marriage in paradise. Oh yes. What the fuck's the point of the alarm if I'm just gonna like go guns blazing on the IDF soldiers, dude? What the fuck? Oh, I completely missed that, dude. Jesus.
Is this gonna be a dud?
Could finally end this level. It took me. Oh my.
Wait.
There we go.
Palestinian soldiers with a powerful drone.
Oh, I can see over the world here, dude. Look at that, dude. Oh, but anyway, we finished the fucking mission, dude. Wow. Jesus, that took so long. Alright, what's the next mission? What are we gonna do now? What is this? Mission 3? Wait, what? Was I at mission 1? Or no? I don't know.
Execute a Mossad officer.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Whoa, I'm
Is the only thing controversial about this the fact that it's Palestinians?
Oh god, where'd he go though? Alright. This is staring at me. Oh, they're all back here. What the heck? Alright, those guys are down.
Jesus.
Hello, there's an SMG from.
All right, well, I at least saw this. This was... Hold on.
What am I doing now? Oh. This is your end, Zionist. Oh, shit. What? You can whistle for a shark?
You can if you're Palestinian.
What?
The Palestinian flag on the side of the shark. I thought it was going to be better because I saw that. But it looks like he showed all of his good scenes ahead of time.
What the fuck? Alright.
Oh, there we go.
What the hell? Oh. Okay. Nadal the Jib, which is the developer, has been marked by Mossad. Dude, if Mossad tries to do something against me, you try to...
Okay. Well, that one was a dud, but we'll go into the history of ethnic cleansing.
Homosexuals, non-white racial minorities, feminists, their fellow Jews, of course, everybody except normal, healthy, decent white men and women are losers or antisocial misfits looking for company.
And the topic of controversial games, Midnight has some entertaining videos on offensive classic Doom mods. Yeah, I know there's the one that was the school shooter. Oh God, this is just cancer. There was the one on the school shooter and stuff like that. Midnight, send me some of his links and I'll see if I can find it.
Is multiculturalism making you sick? Are blacks taking over your town?
Hello, is this Hal? Yes.
Black drug dealers?
You don't have freedom of speech with me. The first.
I know there's one on the school shooter. Which one? There's several school shooting. I know I saw one of them when I was going through that top 100 list. I just don't know I don't remember the name of it.
Don't hold back.
The only Doom mod I've looked into was the one that's kind of based off of the what is it called? The House of Leaves. Super Columbine Massacre RPG. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, the only Doom mod I've looked into is the one about the that was kind of the House of Leaves kind of one where the rooms keep changing and things like that. I thought that was a pretty good one.
Are worthless.
Who does this? I have nothing. I have nothing to do with you.
I will often refer to black people as niggas and motherfuckers.
But are you still doing white supremacist stuff like the National Alliance or?
I don't even know if it still exists. Does it still exist? Still exist? Still exist? Still exist?
White revolution is the only solution.
Right.
Ethnic Cleansing, a 2002 first-person shooter developed by the National Alliance, one of the largest American white supremacist and neo-Nazi organizations. The game stands as one of the most infamous creations of the white supremacist neo-Nazi movement, widely recognized as the most racist game available online, has earned notoriety and condemnation from various sources over the years. Today, we're delving deeper than anyone has ever before, not only going to the source coded files, but even to find the people behind
Can you still download this game? I wonder if there's like some hidden place where you could actually still download it.
It's monstrosity. Join me as I unearth the hidden history and secrets of this obscure, controversial game. But first, let's talk about the background of this game. Ethnic cleansing has its player navigate.
I also wonder if Collective Shout would have a problem with this game.
To eliminate stereotypical enemies portrayed with various racial stereotypes in order to promote a white supremacist message. The game was released on Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 2002 and distributed through the record label of the National Alliance, a white supremacist neo-Nazi organization founded by Pierce, a prominent figure in the white nationalist movement for over 30 years.
Don't waste that.
And headquartered in Mill Point, West Virginia, operated in close association with Resistance Records, a Canadian label owned by Resistance LLC based in Lufkin, Texas. Resistance Records promoted and sold music by neo-Nazi and white supremacist musicians, along with 2 controversial computer games, Ethnic Cleansing and its sequel, White Law. Both games were...
I didn't know it had... Hold on, I didn't know it had a sequel. White Law.
The Resistance Records website, and were strongly criticized by anti-hate organizations like the Anti-Defamation League of Bir Iberith. The second game, Ethnic Cleansing's sequel, White Law, portrays a scenario where a terrorist attack destroys Washington, D.C., laying the rise of capital city as a beacon of diversity. However, with a disproportionately high minority arrest rate, Mayor Redstone establishes the All-Minority Equality Police, prompting the player, a former KPD SWAT team member, where the player must described as take matters into their own hands. The game sounds similar to what unravels in the novel The Turner Diaries. Later being discovered this may have been the case. Resistant Records did have plans to release more games based on the novel made by William Luther Pierce. Again, the founder and chairman of the National Alliance.
Dude, this guy needs to put games run like shit on modern systems, though. Sent the midnight links into Discord. Okay, yeah, sure. This guy needs to fix his voice. He's a little too droll.
So makes sense. The book advocates for a violent revolution leading to the extermination of non-whites and Jews. The novel has been associated with various hate crimes and acts of terrorism, including the 1984 assassination of Allenberg, the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, and the 1999 London nail bombings. It is estimated to have...
Yeah, I probably won't, but I'll look at them and we'll set them up for the docket because I want to find some games I didn't know about. Like the first 2 were pretty good. The suicide game it had its funny moments. This guy sounds like a school student presenting a project while he's reading. Yeah, he really is. It's a little hard to listen to.
Influencing over 200 killings. William Luther Pierce stated that the game aimed to be racially provocative, claiming the game had a positive reception and sold 2,000 copies by March 2002. With 90% of customers being white teenage boys, he characterized it as a medium for the message.
I mean, it's that edgy, like, you want to be edgy. Oh, I heard there's the ethnic cleansing game. I bet it would be edgy to go play that and laugh.
Teenagers could be subjected to even before being old enough to join the National Alliance. The game was advertised as the most politically incorrect video game ever made. Ethnic Cleansing was developed using the Genesis 3D game engine and Reality Factory tools, with someone by the name D. Brian Ringer handling design and programming, and a Bob Hawthorne contributing additional video and sound elements. The game was initially sold on CD-ROM through the Resistant Records website for $14.88. The price may seem weird, but there's a significant reason behind it. White supremacists have co-opted certain numbers and symbols to convey their hateful ideology. For instance, the number 14 is often associated with the infamous 14 words, a slogan used by white supremacists to express their beliefs in securing a future for white people. We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children.
That would be why.
Was coined by David Lane, a member of the white supremacist terrorist group known as the Order. Similarly, the number 88 is coded reference to Hail Hitler, with H being the 8th letter of the alphabet. By combining these numbers, white supremacists create a symbol for their ideology, and their way to spread it is using it as prices on merchandise. Several thousand copies of Ethnic Cleansing were manufactured and shipped by Rainbow Records until the company served its ties with Resistant Records in June 2002. Now, turning to the game, there's quite a lot to unravel. Before starting the game, it's recommended to fix the directory, otherwise you'll encounter an error message. However, you can bypass this by directly opening ec.exe, the actual game executable. The only issue is, this workaround prevents you from making configurations to the game. Once the directory is fixed and we open it, the configuration menu appears.
I don't know that I need the exact ways to get into the game.
Music preference, character, and other game options. Music options include resistance metal, resistance rock, resistance industrial, resistance country, resistance oi. It's a form of punk rock. Okay.
We're about to make up a batch of whitewash.
Classical music or no music? We can choose our character. Will, who is meant to represent the Aryan White Will, visually resembling the domestic terrorist Timothy McVeigh, who perpetrated the Oklahoma City bombing on April 19, 1995. The bombing killed 168 people, 19 of whom were children, injured 680, and destroyed 1/3 of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. McVeigh's presence in the game is due to his political ideology, believed to align with white supremacy. McVeigh frequently quoted and alluded to the white supremacist novel The Turner Diaries. Yes, the book made by William Pierce. He claimed to appreciate its interest in firearms. Photocopies of page 61 and 62 of the book were found in an envelope inside McVeigh's car after the bombing. These pages depict a vicious mortar attack on the U.S. Capitol in Washington. There's no evidence that McVeigh ever belonged to any extremist groups, despite his military career being marked by a reprimand for purchasing a white power t-shirt at a Ku Klux Klan rally. Black power t-shirts around a military installation. After returning home, he signed up for a trial membership in the KKK, although he ultimately did not continue with the Klan. Other character options include a neo-Nazi skinhead and a Klansman, though selecting these options only alters the third-person model. Now I want to take our attention to the skull next to the resistance text at the top. We're going to see this little skull a lot with the start of the game. This is a Totenkopf, German for death's head or skull and crossbones. During the Nazi era, this symbol was adopted by Hitler's Schutzstaffel, SS, and became associated with the SS.
That is a pretty killer character selection.
Totenkopfverbände, responsible for guarding concentration camps. Following World War II, neo-Nazis and white supremacists resurrected the Totenkopf as a hate symbol. It's crucial to understand that this particular image of the skull and crossbones that is considered a hate symbol, not any depiction of a skull and crossbones. Resistance Records uses this symbol as a logo of sorts and is plastered all over this game. Moving on, after configuring settings, we can...
Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of this when that artist made the hit piece on Bored Ape, saying that there was a lot of Nazi symbolage and alluding to the Nazi party.
Save and start the game. Upon opening the game, we're greeted with a window called Dialogue, where we can configure our drivers to run the game. It's worth noting that no matter what we choose of the driver selection, the game cannot run properly on modern hardware. After choosing a driver and resolution setting, we encounter the Genesis 3D engine startup screen, a Totenkopf symbol overlapped with resistance in the title card. Ethnic cleansing. The race war has begun. Will is unmistakably the centerpiece of this game, prominently showcasing all promotional materials and imagery. So with this, we can expect to encounter Will frequently. Oh, I guess this is the title card. They needed two for some reason. Alright. Now, moving on to the menu screen, there is a lot to take in.
Well, I doubt they were much for I doubt they were much of devs. They were just trying to get something out.
We have Will positioned in front of a stock photo of bullets and an M4 rifle, where a large portion of the screen is occupied by the game's logo and again random images of my boy Will. The menu offers standard options, mainly on game selection and setting configuration. After viewing around the options, which I mean there's barely any, like the max options are 2 in the settings, the compatibility issues for this game with modern hardware really start to show. Literally going up and down the options menu causes your frame rate to drop. What the It gets worse. Viewing the credits, we're once again confronted with, for no fucking reason whatsoever, a splatter of just Resistance Records images all over the fucking background everywhere. Now, the credits attribute game design and visual basics programming to D. Brian Ringer, with additional video and sound by Bob Hawthorne. To the left is more specific, saying that Jewish voices are Bob Hawthorne, and the African American voices, which they here just call a rather racial term, which I'm just going to refer to.
That's an old one. They were very proud of their words, their word art skull.
Recorded live on location.
I mean, when you get one good piece of art, you put it in everything, right?
And if you're wondering what voice lines these actually are, they're just, you know, ape noises. If you were to ask me if a neo-Nazi or an edgy white teacher made this, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Now, below the credits, we see text acknowledging this Genesis 3D engine, Resistant Records copyright, and the statement, no subhumans were harmed during the making of this video.
What a way to say it.
Word that attempts to dehumanize people. The exact definition is a person who fails to attain the level as of morality or intelligence associated with normal human beings. Going on to information, we are now splattered instead of Resistant Records, the National Alliance image. Thank fucking God. Thank you. This is just what I need. Is more shit. Now we got this cool little animated logo. I bet they were really proud making this, you know. Next to it, a collage of images of William Pierce, a propaganda poster that the National Alliance used to hang around Virginia to attempt to get people to join their movement. Photos taken from what seems to be a rally, and a red box with a text that reads, the white race? Who the f took these pictures? This is dog shit. Below all this, a message by the National Alliance expresses their call to action in shaping a future that maintains the preserved racial quality of future generations being the white race. It asserts that a healthy society cannot be multiracial and advocates for the unity of the white race based on shared ancestry, organization within a progressive social structure, and the promotion of common ideals. Now navigating back, we can now start the game. Hooray! We're first met with an opening intro. If we were to start the game through the actual game executable, you won't get this intro. Instead, it's just a loading screen. The game starts by stating that the race war began yesterday, and the city is in a state of
yesterday
and lawlessness. It mentions that gangs, specifically described as ends in mestizo gangs, mestizo, a term referring to a man of mixed race, especially one having Spanish and indigenous descent.
Oh, well, I'm just learning all sorts of new slurs here.
Rolling the streets of the inner city, committing heinous acts like rape and murder. The player's character has been conducting surveillance from a crack house. They actually wanted the hero to be in a fucking crack house. This shit ain't no Postal.
This can't be good for me, but I feel great. But I feel great. This can't be good for me, but I feel great.
Well, the
guess their main character, yeah, it started yesterday, but the main character is late to the purge. I guess so.
An end to the chaos. The leader of the N gang, referred to as Big N, is highlighted as the primary antagonist. The player's objective is to find and neutralize him. It's revealed that Big N has rigged a barricade with explosives to escape through the subway system if needed. The player must destroy the barricade and then proceed to deal with the Jews who supposedly caused the chaos.
Of course.
Now,
of course.
Full issues with this game running on modern hardware. I tried every driver, every resolution, but no matter what, I got 2 frames per second every time.
What the hell am I watching? We're learning about ethnic cleansing. The one of the greatest white supremacy games ever made. I shouldn't say that. Yes, we're learning about ethnic cleansing. Come on, Vincent. I know you've heard of ethnic cleansing.
I mean, sometimes the game just runs smoothly right until you come up in contact with an enemy, and then back to fucking shit. So to get some footage, I had to use a video from YouTube, and I made sure to choose the least non-schizophrenic person who played this game.
I am not promoting these games.
All right, well, he's not promoting the game. Thank God. I mean, that has to mean he's not some racist, okay?
I will often refer to black people as niggas and
Better watch what you say before Eric clips it out of context. Oh, yeah, probably. I know some people that probably wouldn't like hearing that.
That's what I meant. It's called
I think it would break Eric's brain if he saw me watching this. Why he looks like a mix of Jewish and what do you call that? Jomish? Jumish?
I mean, at least we can barely understand what he's saying. I cannot tell anything he's saying with this fucking accent.
Does that give him the pass in some way?
You rabbi are going to kill me. I don't know. Some bug happened and triggered, and the game is running way too much faster than it should.
Stop talking.
You like the Great Replacement idea better? They need a video game for that, I suppose.
Go on, install the game.
He ended up releasing a recent video looking back and saying ethnic cleansing was not a racist game.
So it's not a racist thing, of course.
Well, it seems he's changed his ways, I guess, because playing Donkey Kong means he's not racist somehow. What the f does this mean? Oh, now he's looking at his penis. What the f? This guy's a good source to be saying racist, and that's not. Ethnic cleansing consists of 2 levels. When you spawn, you find yourself on the second floor of a
I feel like I should have watched his video.
building. This is supposed to be our mentioned crack house. First off, you'll notice the HUD. There's an enemy marker on the top left showing nearby enemies, though it's not very useful due to the fast-paced gameplay. In the middle left, there's a compass indicating the direction we're facing. Your health is displayed on the top right with a Totenkopf icon above your ammo count. The controls are really odd. You move with SZXC instead of W.
Of course.
P is used for jumping, which the jumping is just... With that, we can pick up some ammo boxes and health regenerators shaped like the National Alliance logo, although the health regenerators do nothing since you're already at full health. Good game design. And we can also check out some nice propaganda posters on the walls. So as we descend the stairs and step outside, we're greeted by a destroyed, rundown cityscape. This is meant to be a ghetto. It's kind of hard to see that though because it's obscured by this thick black fog, and this fog is just a broken shader and it's annoying as hell. Enemies hidden with it can still target you easily while you ultimately have to blind fire. As we leave our crack house, we're swarmed by enemies. Only African Americans and
that person's never going to be a slave.
And reaching a defensive hideout, Big N is holed up. We fight him. Defeating him reveals the detonator for the subway explosion located just behind him. By triggering the explosion at the subway entrance, you make your way to it, marking the start of the second level. Then our second level intro movie plays.
Yeah, definitely Silent Hill for racist people.
The Jews, upon realizing
it's scary because there's black everywhere.
Their actions would lead to a race war, established a command post in the subways to avoid the chaos they caused. They portray the Jews as seeking only to exploit the suffering of non-Jewish people, whom they derogatorily refer to as the Goyim, a term used by Jewish people for a non-Jewish person. But the game says it means cattle. I don't know why. It doesn't really mean that. Apparently it means genital. It says that non-Jewish people worldwide are rising up against Jewish oppression and destroying what the text refers to as a parasitic threat. The player is tasked with finding their way into the Jewish headquarters to put an end to them once and for all. The leader of the Jews is depicted as a sick and twisted creature, deformed and huge due to the evil within him, referred to as the Butcher of Beirut. The player must find and destroy the Jewish leaders to start putting the world back together. The next stage is a bit more organized, but it still feels like aimless wandering. Here, the enemies are only Jews. Progressing involves navigating through subway tracks, rooms, a conference meeting, and finally facing off against the boss where he emerges from the floor. Combat with the boss just mainly involves dodging and shooting until he's beaten.
Oh, he's got a rocket launcher, that's right.
To a corridor with two choices: restart the game or end it. And that's it for ethnic cleansing. This game is obviously but obviously you would say
this is a one-man developer. How are you try developing a game?
Well, first, Genesis 3D is all pre-made. Literally everything is made for you, and that's why this game is Okay, you still think this is not a good enough excuse? Okay, here's a fucking different game made on Genesis 3D. This game looks completely fucking different. And I'm betting you this took as much time as ethnic cleansing. I strongly believe this could have been much better graphically, even with an already built game engine.
Okay, he's promoting that ethnic cleansing could have been a lot better.
Broken aspects on release, terribly unfair AI, terrible audio. This game sucks. Man, what the is this? Even what this game is trying to do, which is basically racist propaganda, is terrible. This game literally just seems like some fucking white edgy teenage virgin made this. Bro, like, what is this? And William Pierce was so proud that he put the statistics about.
The game had a positive reception and sold 2,000 copies by March 2002. 90% of customers being white teenage boys.
Oh, they could be a medium for the message before they're even old enough to join the National Alliance. These boys can't join the fucking National Alliance. You know why? Their ribs are breaking under their fat fucking weight every time they stand up. Their legs would collapse.
They're making the Jews sound worse than super mutants and the Master from Fallout. I think that's the idea. I think that's what they're going for.
Ground. These men who take this so seriously, this 7-year-old man who is so proud of his low game, is on the same level, on the same mindset of these fucking losers. Let's look something up. Hold on. Was William Pierce married? Oh, divorced 5 times. 5 times. Do you see a pattern? You see a pattern with these two people? How the fuck you marry these 5 women and then you divorce the 5 women?
You're not wrong, Kimoji. My guy got angry because the game wasn't cinema. He's like, you know what? It's kind of weird that you made this racist ethnic cleansing game, but you know what's more offensive? The fact that it's shit. The fact that it's shit graphics. If you're gonna be racist, at least be good at it.
That is achievement by itself. William Pierce died of renal failure. Is that like the fucking penis? He died of no sex. He died of no sex disease. Now let's actually get into the files of this game. Despite multiple tries, I always ran into an issue trying to open the game's map. Each time it just ended up crashing my engine. So for those
I need to hunt
with propaganda posters, there's really nothing else. I kind of talked about this, but these propaganda posters were actually displayed across Virginia to encourage recruitment for the National Alliance. Besides that, there's a secret room in the first level containing only some ammo, health, and a TV. That's all I know of the map, really. I had no success for just trying to open it on the Genesis 3D engine, and there's no way to really open these sort of map files. However, I managed to export the separate models successfully and enhance the textures using AI upscaling. So if you're interested in accessing these models for yourself,
oh no,
description. Now let's move on to the characters. Now remember when I said how Will represents
who is Douse?
Timothy McVeigh? You probably looked at him and said, "This nothing like this fucker." Well, you have to go deeper, all the way into the files just to see, boom, Timothy McVeigh. And actually, it's not just Will. The skinhead, Will, and even the Klansmen are all Timothy McVeigh. The distinct difference in Will's appearance from McVeigh is primarily from the specific characteristics attributed to the so-called Aryan race, which is not only being white, but also having blonde hair and blue eyes. Now, with that, let's explore the people behind the faces in this game. Jubas, Jusoup 1, and Jubas. Yeah, that's not a mistake. There's two. Sharon, a prominent figure in Israel military and politics. Sharon was an influential advocate for Jewish settlement in occupied territories and took a hard-line stance against the Palestinian Second Intifada as prime minister from 2001 to 2006. Sharon's tenure is noted for assertive policies that have profoundly impacted Israel history in the Israel-Palestinian conflict. His career was cut short by a stroke in 2006, leading to his death in 2014.
Oh, we're getting back to boring.
David Lawrence Schwimmer, a Jewish
what?
producer. He's best known for his role as Ross Geller in the iconic sitcom Friends. Coming from a Jewish family, Schwimmer's cultural background has been a part of his identity both on and off the screen. W, which is a pejorative term targeting Mexicans, historically used to demean those who entered the U.S. illegally,
That's another one I haven't heard in a long time.
By wading or swimming across the Rio Grande, the river that marks the U.S.-Mexico border. Regarding the face associated with this model, I could not identify this guy despite just hours of researching. I was so desperate that I went as far as asking Reddit in hopes of finding any leads. Who the fuck is Genghis Khan?
They should have included a Friends theme remix. Been racist. I'll be racist for you. I mean, you could have so much fun with this. He's going through it like bit by bit, but it's so much good content and jokes. Yeah, bye. Okay, I need to get over here where there are some trees.
I was unable to identify. So this guy is the first face of the African American characters. He's also Big N, with just the addition of glasses. All the files featuring him are, not surprisingly, labeled as Monkey. This is the second face of the African American.
Of course it is.
Identified as N in the files. I think my difficulty in finding him is probably because he looks more like a video game character than an actual real person. In 4 of his files, he's depicted with an afro and facial hair, which in only 1 seems to be his normal appearance. This texture of a Jew has definitely seen some shit. What the fuck?
I mean, he's in an ethnic cleansing game.
Seems just to be non-human. Also, there's this shirt with the logo and the letters JDL on these guys. This stands for the Jewish...
Oh, I thought he was talking about JDA.
League, an organization that has garnered controversy for its extreme stance on Jewish nationalism and anti-Arab sentiments. Founded by the late Rabbi Meir Kahane, the group asserts that Jews are subjected to significant anti-Semitism both within the United States and internationally, necessitating self-defense by any available means. The Jewish Defense League is considered a far-right religious and political entity in the United States and Canada. It proclaims its mission as safeguarding the Jews from anti-Semitism by whatever means necessary. Since 2001, it has been categorized as a right-wing terrorist group by the FBI, and it is also identified as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. The FBI's investigations revealed that the JDL has orchestrated and carried out several acts of terrorism on American soil. Some weird detail about the enemies in this game is that their gangs are written on the side of their shoes. For instance, shoes marked with N's are worn by African Americans, while the ones labeled H, a derogatory term in the US for Jewish individuals, are worn by, well, the Jews. If you're wondering about the gun we use, it's an M4A1 rifle. I stumbled upon a website featuring the exact image of the gun and some details, and there's a...
Hold on. You've never seen an M4?
Somewhere, if you're wondering what that is, it's a Magnavox AZ9040. There's one interesting video included in the game files. Although it is a part of the game, finding it requires discovering a secret room. WLP is the video America is a Changing Country by Dr. William Luther Pierce. In this video, Pierce presents his views on the negative changes in the U.S., attributing them to non-white immigration, government policies, and what he sees as harmful media influences, including those from Jewish individuals. He criticizes the shift towards multiculturalism and the decline of traditional white American demographics and culture, blaming media and globalization for eroding American values and economic standards. Pierce advocates for a white-only society, aiming to preserve European-derived culture and advance white interests through a specific multimedia strategy. The video ends with a call to action for white Americans to support the National Alliance goal of racial...
Of course. At the end, it's just a propaganda piece.
There's a lot of audio files, and to be honest, I'm uncertain if any of these were even unused in the game. Of course, all files have been listed in the description for those who are interested. But with that, our next step is to find the origins of each and every one of these audio clips. One is...
We just got our asses kicked, pal.
And one each is the 1986 film Aliens, the sequel to the 1979 film.
Okay, I don't know that I want to go through every single audio file. This looks interesting.
His return to Berlin. Consequently, on April 20th, 1942, Furtwängler conducted a performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony with the Berlin Philharmonic for Hitler's birthday. These sound files in the game correspond to their historic performance. Johnny Rebel C is Sea-Town by Johnny Rebel, part of For Segregationist Only album.
Oh, God.
If you smell something funny when you walk down the street, town.
I can see where this is going.
Johnny Rebel N is N Hatin' Me by Johnny Rebel, part of For Segregationists Only album.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of Johnny Rebel songs.
No Remorse This Time is This Time the World by No Remorse, part of the This Time the World album. Rohawa is When the Boat Comes In by Rohawa, part of A Tribute to the Iron Stewart in The Glory of Screwdriver, the Flame That Never Dies album. Shut Down Pray is Pray for War by Shutdown, part of the Pray for War album. TCOP7 is Operation 7 by Thought Criminal.
Hi. You're going to call up your rigorous investigation. You're going to publicly state that there is no underground group.
And TC Insurrection is Insurrection, also by Thought Criminal.
I thought that was going to be a racist version of I Am a Man of God. Oh.
Now, when I was researching these songs and these artists, it turns out Thought Criminal is relatively obscure. The only related information I found was from a Lost Media Wiki user who seems to be doing similar research like me and asking about what others know. The post mentions a CD named Evolved, which was planned for release by Resistant Records, and notes that Thought Criminal also composed the soundtrack for White Law, the sequel to Ethnic Cleansing. Now, there's no singing in these songs, but I did hear a familiar voice in Operation 7.
Hi. You're gonna call up your rigorous.
Maybe that's why rock bands became woke lately. Maybe. Completely going the opposite direction. Oh my goodness.
Investigation. You're gonna publicly state that there is no underground group. Or these guys are gonna take your balls. They're gonna send one to the New York Times, one to the LA Times press release style.
Dude, there's no fucking
Fight Club.
Some edgelord Sigma male kid didn't make this shitty game.
So, who wants to fight my boss?
Dude.
Haha! All right! I'm gonna destroy something beautiful, you know? Oh.
God bless you, Trevor Moore, for firing off these corny ass motherfuckers. Disclaimer, I fucking love this movie, but again, people and fan bases like to ruin shit with their cringy, weird ass stuff like this.
But then why have men become so weak? What is behind this male despair? Well, I've spent countless hours studying this phenomenon, and there are three main things causing it. And they might surprise you. Before we go into
Yeah, this song uses tons of lines from the 1999 film Fight Club, directed by David Fincher. I don't know if I even have to explain what this movie is. Directed by David Fincher and based on Chuck Palahniuk's 1996 novel. Stars Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, I think we know who Fight Club is.
Worker who
I'd be very, very careful who you talk to about that. Because the person who wrote that is dangerous. And this button-down Oxford cloth psycho might just snap and then stalk from office to office with an Armalite AR-10 carbine.
Okay. Yep, I know what that is. Let's move on.
White supremacist neo-Nazis.
I am not reading all of that.
James Queso?
No, but who's this?
This is Joseph Spindledoodle. I'm just looking for an old friend.
Oh, okay. Well, I can connect you with Mr. Kelso. Where do you know him from?
Oh, me and him go a while back, but I don't really think I should disclaim where me and him met.
Okay.
But I just ended up finding his number again, so I thought I would give him a call.
Okay. Well, this is James Kelso, and what's up?
Oh, James. Yeah, we met at the National Alliance. Do you remember me?
What's your name?
Joseph Spindledoodle.
No, I do not. Sorry.
Oh, you gave me your number back then at the American Freedom Party, too.
Okay, well, it's been many years.
Yeah.
And I'm 75. I'm still got all my cylinders are still firing. But what part of the country are you in?
Damn, you're old. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear you're still kicking. But are you still doing white supremacist stuff like the National Alliance or?
I don't even know if it still exists. Does it still exist?
Maybe, but I doubt because of Pierce's death.
I'm a full-on Trump patriot. That's it.
Oh God.
Well, I've been looking for.
Listen, I said you call me. I'm at work right now.
Oh.
So you can call me at some other time and shoot the ball.
All right. Well, what time can I call you at? Can I call you later?
Yeah, you call me tonight.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Okay. So he just made friends with a old neo-Nazi.
Bye. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to ask for your pronouns.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, this is the fellow that called me earlier.
Yeah, I'm glad your dementia hasn't kicked in, old man.
This is, I forgot your name. What's your name?
Who?
Well, did you have a question?
Yeah. You gotta give me a minute, though. I gotta think.
Okay, well.
Okay.
I think this is a put on, so.
A what?
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, live well.
Why the hell are you talking like you're in a sitcom? Motherfucker thinking in the Truman Show or something.
Okay, well, goodbye.
All right, fuck you too.
So he's just calling these guys now?
Hello? Oh, hi. Is this Kevin Strom?
No.
Oh. Sorry, I was just looking for an old friend.
Oh, cool. Sorry, I know.
All right, thanks. Goodbye.
Get fucked.
What the f did he say? Get fucked? That sounds like, I don't know, that sounds like a guy who looks like this. That was Kevin, dude. That was Kevin. You're bullshit. If you go, no, that ain't Kevin. That ain't Kevin. You sound like a schizo. You're a schizophrenic man.
Hello?
I heard you's a pedophile. I heard you like little boys and...
All right, that one was a little funny. I was about to say he's kind of dumb trolling.
Hello, is this Hal?
Yes.
Hey, Hal, how's it going, friend?
Who is this?
Oh, this is Joseph Spindledoodle.
I'm sorry, who?
Joseph Spindledoodle. JOSEPHSPINDOODLE.
Why are you calling me on my home telephone?
Sir, is this the same Hal Turner who's supposedly that neo-Nazi white supremacist guy?
Well, that's a completely false description, but why are you calling me on my home telephone?
Well, hold on a minute, sir. You ever heard of freedom of speech?
You don't have freedom of speech with me.
My brother, who the hell are you to tell me if I have freedom of speech or not?
The First Amendment only applies to the government, fella. Don't call back.
Oh, you got any more conspiracies, Alex Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Hello. It's me again, dumbass. That was very rude to hang up on me like that.
So I told you not to call back.
Oh, no, please. So what the hell are you gonna do? Call the Klan on me?
I don't know who you are or what your purpose is of calling.
Oh, purpose?
You bother me
Purpose?
at my house.
Purpose. Because you should know purpose in life. Your purpose in life is to be on this call sucking on my daily. Your purpose in life is to be in this call blowing the daily. You're gonna stay on my until you die. Your life is nothing.
Okay.
I don't know, is it? It seems like I got you pondering a little, man.
Well, good luck with trying to make your dreams come true. I think it's not going to work out too well.
Okay, what the f is up with you guys speaking f***ing gibberish as comebacks? Have you taken your normal pills, Hal?
Hello.
You're one of the most well-known f***its that keep coming in every stream. After you get banned, suck my virtual every stream. Because you fantasize about me ass naked with abs chiseling and a Urian thong while I committed Triant slaughter. While I put you in all type of Aegis reflector setups where you can't get out, you're forced to suck a... You're forced to get pounded in your virtual ass. Then I bust matrix juice all down your throat till you choke, spit up everything you grubbed on, and it's just gonna erupt with green juices, and to the point you're just caught in eternity. You're just caught in an...
Okay, I think that is pretty much all of this. Influence and edgelords.
Sold 2,000 copies, 90% of customers being white teenage boys. He seemed to view it as a medium for the message. No, it's just a bunch of fucking edgelords. This game is shit. If you ever see
green juices, Jesus.
It's the most edgelord comment fucking ever. And you want to know where you can find these comments? Schizo Man's video.
This is some legit racism, not people getting up in arms about Donkey Kong having a bit of watermelon every now and then.
What the f does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Okay.
You're welcome.
Not people getting up in arms about Donkey Kong having a bit of watermelon every now and then. What the f is up with these people in Donkey Kong, huh?
Kicking tunes. Sounds like a Screwdriver cover, the first one.
How do people know what this music actually is? What?
Masterpiece.
What's up with these?
You live in the right area, and you've heard someone play this song before.
Short response from Edgelords. Half the time it's just a
songs
or shock humor. You know, let's laugh out loud in the comments, you guys. These fucking comments just remind me of the fucking Redditors commenting, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, unlike some 5-year-old getting turned to mist from a gas leak. Like everyone's just supposed to just applaud them for their amazing sense of humor. It's the funniest shit ever, right?
When are we gonna get a remake?
I don't think we are. Really, I'm stuck in hell, and I don't think he's getting out anytime soon.
Great game. There's a remaster. Reports Unity engine.
All right. Well, if you're calling this a great game, let's see what other games you play.
Oh my god, bro.
One of my favorite games.
Holy shit, man, you're Sigma. Oh my god.
There needs to be a sequel. Drag Queen Cleansing.
I love these homophobic comments from Edgelords. They're so good. Man, this generation is so soft. All these snowflakes, and then they see a rainbow on a flag, and they start busting everywhere.
Alright, he's cooking a little bit there.
Drag queen, isn't that just like a fashion thing? Honestly, like I know it's got like, you know, the LGBTQ stuff with it, but honestly, I just think it's like a fashion sense, right? Average edgelord when a man decides to not follow some stupid society made up.
But masculinity though.
Yeah, masculinity and femininity. The f chose this name? Femininity? Yeah, that's just bullshit. You know what makes a man and what makes a woman? Fucking science, fucking biology, or some shit like that. You see how it sounds when you're like, yeah, only fucking women can wear dresses and only men can, I don't know, fucking sports. I don't know. Yeah, replace that shit with like only ginger hair people can drink water. Like, why? I fucking look online, I look on Instagram, and this bitch pops up on my feed. It's like, yeah, I'm not a feminist. I can cook. I think it just proves like what type of people making these comments are like. Like, oh yeah, women are supposed to cook, but I also like don't support women, even though I'm a woman. Get your pick me ass off my fucking screen.
I'm definitely playing this game now, and I'm going to tell all my friends to play it by making a positive gameplay video about it.
This guy's name is Doesn't Hurt Yet. What the f does that mean? Who the f is this guy? No one fucking cares, man. Stop acting like you have friends. This is honestly like an IGN reviewer.
I played it, and version 2 of this game is better. This game is amazing.
Any askers, man? Fucking any askers. No one gives two sh. What do you think about this game, bro?
What? No Muslims in it?
Yeah, holy sh. Only 3 gets fucking ripped off. I'd make like a Postal 2 player joke, but that's disrespectful to them. They're edgy, but not like this fucking loser.
Oh god. What was the name of this game?
This Jew really hates all the truth that this game is spewing out at him. Laughing emoji.
Yeah, tons of truth to it. This is Dominique Claports. The fuck is your last name, dude? Dominique Cumsicle's average day to work are more like fucking preschool.
See how there's no windows on the side? And see underneath where there's like a pod thing? What's that, right? You see, President Bush was in a secret society at Yale called the Skull and Bones. His dad was too.
Postal 1. Was that in Postal 1? Oh, I guess it was. I thought that was a different game.
They all worship Satan.
President Bush worships Satan?
In my personal opinion, absolutely.
To the game's credits, at least the black people you're shooting are shooting back and part of a gang, so you're not just killing innocent black people.
Bro, what? Bro's thinking this is real life. What the f do you even... Bro thinks this game just spawned here with that in here. You know, some guy put these racial depictions in the game with the intention of a racist message? That's like the whole fucking point. But it's also alright because, like neo-Nazi, these guys have guns and they're shooting you. So I just developed a new game I've been working on. It has like little disabled kids in wheelchairs who are shooting you. I'll execute all of them, and it's got like anti-kids in wheelchairs splattered everywhere. I think this guy will love.
I mean, that game sounds sounds a little based.
Everything's fine though. Everything's fine because, you know, they got guns. Even though I made it, I chose to put what's in it.
I want this video game.
Or what the fuck is this comment, my guy? I want video game. I want milk.
Best game in the world.
Oh, this is just a legit neo-Nazi. What the fuck?
The cover of When the Boat Comes In, originally by Screwdriver, is pretty banging.
Male, I don't know emoji. Okay, Screwdriver fucking the underground rap game of the neo-Nazis. Like, how the fuck do people know what this is?
Across the world. I heard that you a pedophile. You touch little boys and girls.
Okay, this was kind of funny, so I wanted to add this. I ended up encountering one of these guys editing this video. He joined my server, but when I banned him, it deleted his messages. But good thing alert bot exists. Here's the messages restored. Only thought this guy was some 10-year-old who thought he was funny until he posted a gif of Elliot Rogers, who's known as the Virgin Killer. He's an old YouTuber who ended up doing a mass shooting targeting women because they wouldn't talk to him. So obviously,
oh, I remember that guy.
Man as their god. This was the unfunniest shit I've ever seen. I don't know what he was expected, but I thought he was gonna get a round of applause and everyone else would start crying.
Can't do it. I can't.
Own the liberals. Own those shit liberals. I hope you're watching this video because if I ever see your dumbass again, my message is gonna be something more than just corny ass loser, you fucking stupid ass.
I swear to fucking God, I'm gonna find.
So in conclusion, the moral of the story is if you want to play a controversial game, maybe don't play this. Just, I don't know, stick to Doom or something.
Weren't we just talking about Doom? Oh, man. So that's the first few. Some of them were duds, but some of them were pretty good. So we'll have to get into more. If y'all have any, like I said, if you have any you want to see, I'm going to check out the ones Kamoji sent me and see if those work out. We can watch some of that. Oh, shit. I am not doing well. What happened here? See, this is what happens when I don't pay attention. Okay, attack him. Where is this guy? Can I just firebomb him? Yeah, there we go. Boom! Enjoy that. But yeah, send me any information. Oh, God. Ah, pig, I'm making some of my own bacon. There we go. Lowe's, go ahead and equip that. I need you to go save Tendem because he's probably like about to die as usual. Right ear's cut off. Krax is following the same path he has been following for a while. It's not looking good. We've got food, Krax. I need you to eat. But anyways, I'll try to fix whatever this is. And I've lost so many people already. And figure out what's going on. So like I said, if you have any more videos you find you want me to watch, it can be any Degenerate game, stuff that's modern, stuff that's old. I want to kind of go through some of these and look at them and have some fun with it. So head into my Discord, go into Feed the Pig and feed me some content. But other than that, y'all have a wonderful day and I will see you on Wednesday.
Thank you.